data science and machine learning. So data science and machine learning is not is something which is not limited to one, two, three, or four domains. Okay, so we can apply data science and machine learning or the AI itself in every field, in every domain around us. Okay, so and there is no time to learn to start learning it. So when I started learning data science back in 2017 or 2018, I also joined Dice Analytics. So my career also started from Dice Analytics. So I'll also just share my introduction slide. Okay, so I graduated back in 2017 from Beacon House National University, Lahore. Then I came to know, so while I was doing my bachelor's, it was in software engineering. So I came to know about this data field, that how data um is collected and how data is mined, and then it can transform your businesses and all that. So my you can say intuition about that data, or my जो एक आपके अंदर वो होता है ना कि यार इस चीज को एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए, that started right from my final year when there was a subject of data mining. So then I know that if the power of data is so strong that you can control everything around yourself or in an organization through by controlling the data. So let's say you search something on Google, okay, and Google is controlling the response it is giving you by the geolocation. So you mean, so let's say someone sitting in US searches for something, and the Google is giving them response different from a person who is searching the same thing sitting in Pakistan. So this triggered my uh, intuition that this is very strong, very powerful. That from this data, you can control what people can say, what people should look, what people should uh, or what company should focus. So yeah, so this thing intrigued me to learn more about data sciences and this whole data science field. So I started exploring my opportunities around me. There at back in 2017, there wasn't any university offering masters in data science. I think it started in 2018 or 19. But then yes, I came to know about Dice Analytics. Dice Analytics was recently established and started giving courses. So I joined them as a student. I learned data warehousing in BI. Then I studied data science, machine learning, then the AI and deep learning. So I spent around 8 months to study whole aspects of this data science. So starting from data engineering, data warehousing, then business intelligence, analytics, then data science, Python, machine learning, then comes the AI and deep learning. So I spent all these times just studying. Okay. Obviously there was a lot of pressure from my family as well that भाई degree हो गई है अब job कब करनी है, but you have to uh, so if I recall that time now, that if have gone for the job and started working as a software engineer or something else, and so फिर बंदा ना फंस जाता है, फिर बंदा उसी डोमेन के अंदर ही जब एक जॉब मिलती है फिर आपका कैरियर स्टार्ट होता है, आपकी लर्निंग को ब्रेक लग जाती है, एंड देन आफ्टर 4 5 years you realize that ओहो आपने तो अपनी लर्निंग को ब्रेक लगा दिया, एंड देयर आर थिंग्स which are more important or which are gaining more importance nowadays in terms of jobs and all. So अब आपको वो स्टडी करना है. So yeah, that was my journey. Then after all these spending time on my learnings, and I joined UFON as an internship. So at UFON I got to know about the practical implications of this data science in a telecom domain industry, and how pipelines are built, and how industry is using data science modeling techniques to get better results. So then I joined Huawei. then Telenor, and currently I'm working as an assistant manager in EY, Middle East region, in technology consulting domain. So this was my brief introduction. I have skills around data science, AI, customer value management, and yes, the last thing you see here, this is something you all need. We all, so basically this is something we have. That is why we are here, to explore new avenues, new opportunity, to open new learning tracks for as well. This is a skill which there are many students, there are many people who are not, who have not joined this session because they don't have that. हम अपनी बहुत स्लैंग लैंग्वेज में if I go हम कहते हैं जी वो एक कीड़ा होता है, ठीक है, which pushes yourself to explore new things and to learn new things. तो वो जो जद्दोजहद और वो जो चीज होती है ना, वो चीज हम सब में है. That is why we are all here, to learn, to study, to equip new skills. Okay, so this is my brief introduction before going onwards, and uh, let's discuss something about our agenda. And yes, from the introductions you all guys gave, I have some points to say. So some questions came around that I have previously studied data science in a university course or somewhere, or an online taken a course from Coursera, Udemy. But the lack of hands-on experience, and so I could have started a nano degree, Coursera, Udacity, deep learning.ai certification or specialization from anywhere from online, yeah. But I joined Dice Analytics. Why? Because the interaction is very important. So let's say you are studying online, you listen to a lecture, and then there are some questions, but you write it down your question, but who is going to be able to answer that questions for you? No one. But here in Dice Analytics, it's a two-way communication. जब भी आप कोर्स ज्वाइन करोगे, आप लेक्चर के दौरान कभी भी ट्रेनर को पिंग करके यू कैन आस्क एनी टाइप सॉर्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द टॉपिक एज वेल. But this is trainer's responsibility, that he is going to answer all those questions, clarify all those points, and then move on towards another topic. Yeah. So ये चीज ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज के अंदर लैक करती है. बट यस, ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज के अंदर आपको कंटेंट बहुत ज्यादा मिल जाता है. They're very rich in content, bookish topics, theoretical concepts. Yes, they have all that, but they lack the hands-on experience. They lack in giving you that interaction experience, a two-way communication experience, which is our data science, sorry, Dice Analytics top point, which makes us stand out from. So this was, एक तो ये चीज मुझे इंट्रोडक्शन से मिली. दूसरा ये था, देयर आर सम इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स जो कि जिस तरह साथ थे आई थिंक, एंड बाकी भी थे जो ऑलरेडी अपनी डोमेन के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, in a telecom domain, in a health sector, and some other sectors, and they want to uh, get this knowledge of, or understand this data science AI buzzword, that how they can evolve their selves in their so let's say if Saad is working in a telecom domain, and he comes to know that everyone is has some knowledge of data science and AI, and they want him to optimize the results or the marketing strategies around that data science domain. So everyone should have that basic knowledge of data science so that he can work with data scientists. Plus, he can optimize his self, his knowledge, his thinking, his results, his uh, methodologies around that domain, so that uh, he can stay more longer. So everything comes back to the job itself. So why do we learn skill? Why do we get new skill and improve our knowledge? because we are all working in a in a job environment where you continuously have to improve your skills to have that sense of security around yourself, right? So if I do not improve my skills, someone else will come and replace me. Yeah, so that's a fear जो लोग already इस जॉब होल्डर्स हैं और जो लोग स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो स्टार्ट से ही एंड आई वांट टू हैंड आउट टू ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं एंड वो अभी इस फेज में आ चुके हैं बिफोर ग्रेजुएटिंग दैट दे वांट टू लर्न एंड equip this skill so that जैसे ही वो मार्केट में आए और वो टॉप so they can get hired easily और अपना इधर उधर टाइम वेस्ट ना करें किसी और डोमेन के अंदर because all the other domains are pretty much saturated, right? So even data science machine learning की भी अगर मैं overall globally बात करूं तो it has now started to become saturated but again quality lacks अभी भी, ठीक है? अगर मैं अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करूं so I was when I was back in Telenor last year, so we wanted to hire another data scientist along with me and it took us, you can say, 10 months to find a better person or a candidate who can fit in the role. Okay, so quality still lacks, so there's a lot of opportunities around if you can grab them. And so how will you get that? You will get that by having the first of all the knowledge about data science machine learning, and then the skills, the technical skills, the hands-on around that. And the third one is to have that sense of delivery as well, that how to connect that dots. Many people in our audience said this, that they have learned data science machine learning, they have already done projects, but they cannot connect the dots between them, that in my situation how this model or how this technique is going to fit in. Yeah, so these all three things, if you have all these three things, you have the basics, you have the connecting dot ability, you have that hands-on experience, you there is nothing stopping you. Okay, so this is the quality checkpoint which we all should have. Okay, so हमारा focus भी इस खैर इस workshop का तो focus ये है to just get you familiarized with the data science machine learning and the concepts and difference between AI, data science, machine learning, all these three domains, and uh, what is data. So we'll talk about data science first, because once you know data science, only then you can distinguish between uh, data science, machine learning, deep learning, AI, and all these. Okay, we'll talk about data science life cycle, how a data science project kicks off and come to a closure. Then we'll talk about data properties and importance of visualization. We'll talk about machine learning, we'll talk about its cycle, and then we'll give you some training information about our next batch, which is going to be started soon. So we'll start with data science. What is data science? So every one of you might have some basic high level to low level understanding about the data science definition. Again, a definition is a subjective thing. For me, my data science definition can be different from that of Zahir, from that of Abdul Rahman, and everyone can have their own definition of data sciences. But this is about data science. This is about the definition, but the life cycle or the components which come under that remains the same. Anyone can have its own definition, but no one can have its own uh, components in that domain. Okay, so we will not. I will not tell you the definition. I will not ask anyone to go around searching for the definition about data science, a one-liner, a two-liner. No, we will understand the process, and then we can have I have our own definition based upon our understanding. Okay, if I say a single uh, high level definition, that would be Data science is a domain, is a mechanism, is a process in which as you apply science to given data set. Okay, you have data, now you apply any sort of science on that data, it becomes or it comes under data science. Okay, whether it's anything. Okay, even if it's a simple analytics or a function you apply on data. But now we come to this part. So data science is a multidiscipline domain. Multidiscipline domain, what does that mean? That means that people from different backgrounds, people from different domains can study data science, can apply data science, or you can say to become a good data scientist, a quality data scientist, you should have at least these three domains. Okay, what are these? So, first of all, you would have some basic understanding or some high level understanding of how a computer science and IT this domain works. Yeah. So if you don't know how computer works and how to operate a computer or how to program or how to give instructions to computer science or how a programming language works, if you don't know this, you, my friend, cannot become a very good data scientist. Okay, because there are, so someone would say there are Python language or any other programming language is not important. There are many drag and drop tools available which can you can use them and become a data scientist. Yes, you can, but I am saying about quality and a good data scientist. Okay, so for that there are many circumstances, many situations in which you do not have that capability on that in that drag and drop tool, and you have to do it yourself. You have to code it. Uh, then you would face this problem of not understanding the or not taking the roadmap of a code machine learning and no code data science. So the Dice Analytics also offers a course for the non-coders. So where you don't have to learn Python or any other language to apply data science. But we also have this our my course in which we studied Python and other things. So there, so pros and cons are there, but I would say whenever you want to learn something, your learning should never be a tool-based learning, because if you are going for tool-based, tool might become obsolete. Okay, so incoming, so I'm just going off track, but I want to share this. So when I graduated, I did my software engineering. When I graduated and in my degree, I studied Laravel, MVC framework, Java Spring framework, and some other programming frameworks. But when I graduated and came to the industry, I came to know that those frameworks have gone obsolete. The demand of that frameworks have become so limited that I couldn't find a job, or if I tried to find a job, that it would have become difficult for me. So I picked this point, and I learned that from now onwards, I do not have to or do not I should not learn tools. I should learn the methodologies and the get the knowledge itself, the skill, but not around tools. Tool you can learn from Google and YouTube videos and whatsoever. Okay, so similarly, when I was working in Telenor, there was we were using a tool for the data science modeling domain. We had a tool which we can just drag and drop, but I learned that in a day to how to operate that tool. Why? Because knew that I know the data science life cycle, data science methodologies, that I know how a modeling technique works. Learning tool is not a big thing. Okay. So first thing you should understand, you should have basic understanding how computer science IT this domain is working and evolving. Okay, then comes the math and stats. Okay, so Yeah, let's talk about math and stats. Okay. So maths and stats, again, a very boring topic. So throughout our educational journey from class fifth to class, whatever the class you have studied, we are studying maths, mathematical operations. We are uh, learning new things. For example, mean, median, mode, and measure of center, measure of deviation, and all the standard deviation, variation. We have all at some certain point studied these things, but we don't know that practical implication of that. So, so when I was doing my O levels, or when you were studying your matriculation or FSC exam in mathematics, there was this one difficult thing: integration and differentiation. Yeah. So उस टाइम पे बंदा ये सोचता था, यार ये इंटीग्रेशन, ये तो हम जो पूरे पूरे ये सब चीजें जो रटे मार रहे हैं, जो हम दिन में इतनी 100 टाइम्स इसको प्रैक्टिस करके फिर एग्जाम के अंदर पास करते हैं, ये अप्लाई किधर होती है? So our educational system, no one told us, no one tells us that इंटीग्रेशन का फायदा क्या है, डिफरेंशिएशन का फायदा क्या है, ये कहाँ पे इन्वॉल्व होती है, किस तरह इसको यूज बना क्यों है, ये हमें क्यों पढ़ाया जा रहा है एक एफएससी लेवल के बंदे को. So applied mathematics is something which we are not told about. Okay, so we are not taught about. But if I tell you that integration differentiation is the basics on which a neural network works, or a modeling tech, an algorithm works, okay? So that differentiation जो उस टाइम पे आपको बोरिंग, और क्योंकि बोरिंग बना दिया गया था, उसको कभी बताया नहीं गया था उस तरीके से कि इसके फायदे क्या होंगे, that differentiation is involved in आजकल के जो आपके टॉप के न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स हैं उन सब के अंदर. ठीक है. सो मैथ्स और स्टैट्स, या स्टैट्स, मीन मीडियन मोड सबने पढ़ा हुआ होगा. एवरीवन नोज अबाउट मीन मीडियन मोड. बट डू यू नो व्हाई डू वी हैव these three different things just to measure something? No, we don't know the difference between mean and median. Yes, we know the difference in terms of the formula, but we don't know the practical implication, that when do we use mean and when do we use median. So a question around mean is different, a question around median is different. Okay, so these questions, these statistics, these mathematical concepts, these are also very important in a data science data science domain, because what when we say algorithm, when we say model, that algorithm and that model is built around those mathematics and statistic concepts. Okay, so computer science and IT, why? Because you will be using that algorithm by in a medium, and that medium would be computer science and IT, because you will be modeling in your computer, in your laptop. So you need to have basic knowledge about that laptop programming. And then what is an algorithm? Algorithm itself is based upon or created by using mathematical and statistical concepts. And again, by statistics only, if you know statistics, only then you can evaluate the results. Okay, so now comes the most important part, which is the understanding of domain and business knowledge. If you lack in this, so this is where all the questions come in. जब जो आप लोग सबके जो questions है जी, connecting dots and figuring out how to get results out of this technique, and how to uh, fit in our problem with data science. This is where we all struggle. And domain business knowledge. A data scientist, a good data scientist or a quality data scientist is the one who have a strong grip around his business or domain knowledge. So let's say uh, I am a data scientist. I have around 6 years of experience working in a professional environment in data science domain. But and I have to build a model for a health sector. Okay, so let's say I have to predict cancer prediction patient, so model. Okay, so if I do not have the knowledge around the health sector, or I do not have the knowledge around cancer prediction, I cannot build a model. Okay, or you can put it like this way, that a doctor who has data science knowledge is better than me. Why? Because he has that domain knowledge. He knows what to predict and how to predict. Okay, so what are the dependent variables? What are the independent variables? Or how a cancer patient is different from a non-cancer patient? What is an healthy patient? What are the types of cancer? So he know all that domain or business knowledge, you can say. But what I have working knowledge of data science, machine learning, modeling, but I do not have a domain knowledge or business knowledge around that domain. So to in order to become a good data scientist, you should be a domain expert. You should have your majors in the business knowledge. अगर साथ एक अच्छा data scientist बनना चाहते हैं, साथ first of all should be a telecom engineer, or he should have that telecom basics, telecom domain basics expertise. And then after equipping skills around data science, yes, he can become a very good data scientist in that domain. So data science is a multidisciplinary domain, yes, but and why we say it is a multidiscipline? One, it requires multidiscipline domain knowledge. So you have a computer science IT background, or you have a business background. So everyone has their own perks and uh, pros and cons. So some people here are from the technical background, who are from software engineering background, who knows how to code, and we have some non-IT guys. But what IT guys lack is that IT guys lack in their math and stats. They lack in business, understanding business and developing business logic. But they have IT and computers knowledge. So this is their pro. But these two, they don't have that. They have to learn that. Okay. And if we talk about non-IT guys have the business knowledge, or someone coming from the health sector, from the business, who have studied MBA marketing and all that. They know how to market a thing. They know the business domains. Someone is coming from you can say a telecom industry, someone coming from health domain, someone coming from finance or banking sector. So they have that business knowledge, but what they lack is they lack IT computers knowledge. Probably they would have that, but they lack in the math and stats domain. So we all start from zero. Okay. So everyone have to learn new things to become a good data scientist. So a good data scientist has math and stats knowledge, he has business expertise, he has IT computer knowledge. Only then, if you have all these three, only then you can become a very good data scientist. And my weightage, so this you can learn, maths and stats you can learn, IT and computers you can learn tools and whatsoever. This business knowledge or domain knowledge is something which you cannot learn. You can only learn through the experience. You cannot go around and take a few courses and you can say that now I am a domain expert, or I understand some business and I have that. You understand business, or you get that business knowledge from the experience itself working in that domain. Okay, so many people uh, might have this question, who are students, who are uh, doing their college, or haven't gone to or haven't worked in any industry. They might have that, "Wha- how can we become a good data scientist? We don't have this." Yes, and start, no one, मतलब अगर मैं हायर करूं आज कोई बंदा, सो मैं उसको बिजनेस नॉलेज सिखा सकता हूँ. आई कैन गेट हिम the business knowledge. I can tell him, I can uh, give him tips, because he will be my working under my of supervision. So we can rely on this, or we can sort of ignore this for a new fresh hire, but we cannot rely कि जी उस बंदे को मैं बैठ के मैथ और स्टैट सिखाऊं, या उस बंदे को मैं ये बताऊं कि जी पाइथन के अंदर कोड कैसे करना है. ओके, सो स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट, आप अपनी आईटी एंड कंप्यूटर स्ट्रॉन्ग करें. देन बिकॉज आप डेटा साइंस और मॉडलिंग की तरफ जा रहे हो, सो यू वुड नीड एंड मैथ्स एंड स्टैट्स. हम लोग इस पूरे कोर्स के अंदर जो हमारी जो चीज है, जो हमारा 80 hours का कंटेंट है, वी से 80 hours, और we can say 2 months. In this 2 months, we will give you math and stats. We will tell you the algorithms, how a regression technique works, how classification works, how random forest works. So all of these maths and stats involved will get you know that IT and computers का background थोड़ा सा खुद को आपको होना चाहिए. Plus we'll be having hands on around Python language. And obviously हमारे इस कोर्स के अंदर जो 70% काम है वो हैंड्स ऑन है. और जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हम लोग करेंगे और एवरीथिंग जो हम नोटबुक्स में बनाएंगे, वो सब चीजें कोडेड फॉर्म के अंदर हैं. सो यस, we'll teach you IT and computer, math and stat, but this domain knowledge, business knowledge, this is something which you have to learn by yourself, which you have to equip by yourself. But obviously I'll give you tips and tricks around that how to connect dot dots and all that thing. So computer science and math stats combined form machine learning, just a high level. Maths and stats, if combined with domain and business knowledge, gives you the traditional research. Okay, it helps in, so the researchers, what do they do? A researcher or the people who work around or do research is study domain knowledge, study business, and then they have the math and stats knowledge previously with them, so they can be a very good traditional researcher. Similarly, software development or software engineer, what do they have? They have computer science and IT background. They learn or they understand the business and then develop the software around that business. Okay, so if you have all these three, you can research on a topic, you can develop something, develop a software, and you understand the machine learning. Now you are on a right track, and now you can start saying yourself or start calling yourself a data scientist. Okay, if you have all these three things. So we all start from zero, but we land some at a same point, at a same track, which is the data science track. So what is the data science track? You have to learn a tool slash language for data manipulation. Obviously, when we say data science, that means the building stones around in this domain would be data. So you first, you cannot apply data science if you don't have data. Yeah. So you have to get that data to apply that science. So again, learn a tool language for data manipulation. So once you have that data, now you have to learn a tool or a language to manipulate that data. Okay, and we'll discuss more about data manipulation later. Then build understanding of algorithms, math, and stats. So this first track covers your tool and language, and this covers the IT data science thing. Then comes the math and stats domain. So why you need maths and stats? To understand or build algorithms. Then we have that domain knowledge or domain understanding. Why? Because if you have created a data science model who gives you 99% accuracy, but what what 99% accuracy uh, your company or your firm can benefit from? What's the benefit, or what's the use case around which company will benefit? So when you talk about businesses, so let's say I was in Telenor. So Telenor, or right now I'm working with EY as a consultant. So whenever we go to our client, So every client, every business, every industry, they're working for what? To earn cash. Okay, so everything comes down or to that basic fundamental that you have to earn. Every business is working, is hiring, is uh, uh, evolving, is opening new venues. Why? Because they want to earn more. They want to increase their company growth, their profits, their numbers. Yeah. So you have created a model which gives 99% accurate results, but that model is not usable until unless you explain the business that what benefit in terms of numbers can that business achieve from your model. Okay, so we have to, so in order to do that, you have you have to understand the business first. When you understand the business, only then you can uh, connect algorithm with the business logic. Okay, and the results as well. So 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 in my so when I was in Telenor, I created a model. That model was so good, but it didn't go to the production. Why? Because the value it was adding was not enough. Okay, so you have to, so in obviously I cannot um, give you this in just 5 hours of this workshop, but obviously in our course, in 80 hours content, in 2 months content, obviously I'll give you these, I'll make sure that you develop that understanding that how you can utilize that or how to treat the results of machine learning algorithm in a way that it becomes useful or it creates value for the business. Okay, so that mindset you have to develop. I can help that because maybe I'm an expert of some domains, or you can say telecom domain, but you need to have, you need to develop that mindset as well. Okay, so this is the track you have to follow, which covers that domains, that three domains we covered. Only then, if you follow this track, this is the learning track. You first learn a tool, then you understand, you build algorithms, you learn how an algorithm works and all, and then you connect that with your business domain. And then, yes, you are a star, a champion data scientist. Okay. Now we'll move on to the data science life cycle. Okay, so this three steps or three phases, there are three phases of a data science life cycle. Number one, number two, and number three. And in these phases, we have multiple different, sorry. So a data science life cycle, a data science a project starts with a question itself. So you have a problem, you have a problem to solve, you have a question, only then you can start building a data science modeling. Yeah, everything starts with a question, right? So if you are hired in a company, so that company has some use cases, has some questions, has a problem that they'll give you to solve. Okay, so let's say my company says that our revenue is decreasing. We want something around that. You have to develop a model, a strategy, so that we can increase our revenue. You can predict that revenue for us before, or you can forecast something. You can market segment. So there are multiple use cases which can be built in every domain. Okay, when I so let me just give you something to start thinking of that. Last year I was interviewed by a company, and that company, that it was a US based company, and that company was manufacturing tires. Okay, so I was sitting here in Pakistan thinking that A US tire manufacturing company is hiring a data scientist. And look around in Pakistan, we only apply data science or have jobs only in the big sectors, FMCGs, Unilever. We have telecom industry who are hiring data scientists, banking sector having data sciences, and just that. Okay. No textile industry or other industry is hiring or even using these things. Okay, maybe some might have, some might be using them, but so you have to understand so why they are not using, because they don't know how to use data science in their domain, in their knowledge. And why they don't understand? Because they don't understand the impact a data science, a modeling technique can bring in. Okay, so everything starts with a question. Acha, to understand this, let's create a scenario. I think we all do. Uh, so we'll go with a domain in which we all can understand that domain. Okay. So let's say we have a question around. So everyone likes cricket, yeah. So we all are Pakistanis, probably most of us. So we like cricket, we follow cricket, we have uh, emotions and feelings around that. Yeah. So let's say you want to predict that tomorrow is Pakistan facing India. So we have the Asia Cup final and it's Pakistan versus India, and you want to predict that who will win. Okay. So now this is a question. Now this is a problem we have to solve. So once you have the question or the problem, only then you can solve it. Okay. In data science, understanding your question is the, you can say, is a stepping stone, is the building block. If you understood your question well, only then you can solve it in the right way. If you misunderstood your question, if you did not spend at least a day sitting around that question, gathering information and things and thoughts around that questions, you cannot solve that in a good way. Okay, so to the best case scenario, the ideal case scenario is this: whenever a question comes to me, I take a day just to think around that question. Okay, what is required in that question? What is the ask? What are the dependencies? How will I get that data? What data can I get around that? What data should I need around to solve this question? Is it solvable or not? Do I need data science to solve this question? Okay, so all of these questions you should be asking to yourself around that problem. So let's say our scenario was who will win the match? Okay, tomorrow is Pakistan versus India, and you have been given this task to predict who will win tomorrow. So now, what questions comes to your mind? Number one, is this a data science problem? Yes, this is a data science problem. Why? Because the question says you have to predict. So now this predict becomes a data science problem. Okay, this is done. Then what? Okay, uh, what data should I be needing to solve this, to predict Pakistan versus India? Yeah, so we will be needing historical data to predict about tomorrow's match. So that is also done. Okay. Now what? Do I need data of all the cricketing teams to solve this problem? No, or yes, whatever. Do I need the data of around a timeline? Do I need data around uh, just last year or 2 years back or 5 years back, or do I need the data around 1999 World Cup as well? Or that players, that Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, they are not playing today, but do I need that data? So all of these questions around your problem, your question, your statement should cover or comes under this very first: understanding your problem, understanding your question. And then you can see right here, business owner. So we have written uh, domains, or the you can say designation titles, who would be helping you in solving this. So as a data scientist, all of these things are important for you. Yeah, but uh, you can have other domains, other titles as well, who can help you in that. So in understanding question, a business owner can help you in understanding that question, or as a data scientist, you have to act as a business owner in order to fulfill this step. Okay, then comes the next step, which is the data engineering slash data scientist. So the next step is to acquire what? Acquire or gather the data which you have listed in the part one or in the step one. So when you were understanding your questions, you sort of listed down all those questions, and you have the basics, you build that basics, and the questions around the data, you have listed some of them, whatever comes to your mind. It was a blank page in start, but then when you start exploring it, that page is now filled with thoughts, thinking, stepping points, starting points. Okay, whatever comes to your mind around that question, you list it down. And then when you come to the acquire phase, you start gathering around data which you have listed here. So Pakistan versus India, I have to predict. So now I need to get that data. I need to acquire that data. So normally this data engineer or this ingest ETL might confuse you. So if someone is from data warehousing or have studied warehousing, they they would say that ETL is a term used in engineering domain. That ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. Okay, so this it is ingestion. So normally I'll just quickly give you a basic of this around data warehousing. So what is a data warehouse? Data warehouse is a single source of truth. When you say a single source of truth, that means that it has everything in it, and that source only whenever you have to ask something, you ping that source, and that source will answer that question. So it becomes a single source of truth. Okay, so why we are saying, yeah, why do we need a data warehouses in most of the cases, or why companies go for the data warehousing? Because let's say I'm sitting in telecom industry, for example. So I have a database, I have something which is covering from the some data coming from the sales and distribution department, some data is coming from the franchises, some coming data is coming from around marketing, some is coming from products. Okay, so we have all these information coming from different data sources. Okay, so let's say if you think this, so this inner circle is your data warehouse, and all the other circles are the different data sources. So data comes from different data sources. In our case, we have some data from ICC website, we have some data from ESPN, we get some data from Crick Info, we get some data from you say weather information, you get data from pitch report, you get data from social media popularity. Okay, so the form. So you have multiple data sources, you combine all this information in a singular source. Okay, and that becomes your data warehouse. Okay, so that's a warehouse where you keep all your data linked together. Okay, around some information. So that was the basic of data warehouse. So then comes the ingest and ETL part. ETL stands for extract, transform, load. And now when you have that data in a data warehouse, so you first of all need to extract that information from that raw data, and then you have to transform it. So transform means that, okay, now do I need, let's say, when I was scraping data from Cricinfo or ESPN or whatever, so do I need ball by ball data to predict Pakistan versus India win or loss? Anyone?
No, sir.
No. Okay, someone says no. Okay, yeah. So you need to define that timelines. You need to transform your data in a way. Let's say you have a ball by ball data when you scrapped it from the uh, whatever the source. Now you have to aggregate it. Maybe you can aggregate it to another level of, you can say, over by over. If you don't need that, you can summarize it into innings. So first inning, second inning, into that. So you need to transform your raw data in a way, in a form which is suitable for your problem, your question. Okay. So that transformation, extract data from the source, transform it, and then load. This load means that now you have to load that transformed data into an engine, into a platform where you will be applying your modeling technique. Okay. So I think this acquire phase is clear to all. This question phase is clear to all. मैंने क्यों शाहीन अफरीदी कहा, उसको शाहिद अफरीदी क्यों नहीं कहा? बिकॉज मैंने जो डाटा एक्वायर किया, वो मुझे पता है कि मैंने उस एक्वायर करने के टाइम मैंने पिछले 5 साल का डाटा लिया. आई नो पिछले 5 साल में शाहिद अफरीदी इज नॉट प्लेइंग in Pakistan national team, and there's only one Afridi, that is the Shaheen Afridi. So when you know the sources, when you know the domain, when you know your timelines around those sources and data and assumptions, only then you can uh, pre-process, or you can wrangle that data in a way, in a form that is required, in a better form. Okay. So so that is why this is a part of, or this is a responsibility of a data scientist. But I have never acquired or done the ingest ETL part by myself in my 6 to 7 years career. But I do know the assumption limitations of my sources. I know what what columns are missing when data comes in. What is the, so if a column is saying ABC, I know the definition of that ABC. If I don't know what that ABC means, I cannot treat it well. Okay, so this is why this is part of a data scientist. Acha, I'll quickly move forward. There was a question that, can you explain ETL more? ETL, so this ingestion phase is that you have to transform your data into a form in which, uh, into a form that is required to solve that problem. So let's say if I have to predict who will win, so I need the data around, do I need ball by ball commentary data? Do I need over by over? Do I need uh, innings by innings? So you have to define the granularity, that what would be your grain of that data. So what is a grain? आपके डेटा सेट के अंदर जो ग्रेन होता है, व्हाट इज दैट? अ ग्रेन रिप्रेजेंट्स अ सिंगल रो. ठीक है. What, so this question you might, someone ask you, gee, I have the data. Okay, so what is the grain of that data? So the person who is asking what is the grain of that data is asking you to tell you what a single row represents. Okay, so what a single row represents, that you have to define. And then when you have defined that, you have to transform your data in that form. So this ETL means that extract your data, transform it in a way, and then load it into the engine, the medium, the platform where you will apply your modeling technique. Okay. So Now let's move. So the basic thing to understand here at this point is that uh, to get the data is our responsibility, being a data scientist. But it is not our entirely our job to do that. It is our responsibility, yes, but not our job. So I cleared that point as well, that how it is our responsibility, because if you know your data sources and the assumptions around that sources, only then you can treat that data well. Okay, so now this part is done. Now we'll move on to our next phase or next step, which is very, very, very much important in achieving good results out of your modeling part. Okay, if your model is achieving 100% accurate results, 90% accurate results, 80% accurate results, that is because you have performed this part very well. Okay. So you need to understand this, that the importance of this exploratory data analysis, this step, this part is very, very important in formulating in the whole data science life cycle. Okay. And this is solely a data scientist responsibility and its job to achieve this. Okay. Without this, you cannot have, you cannot get good results. Okay. And normally, and this is again, हम लोग आगे जाके डिटेल में देख रहे होंगे अपने कोर्स के अंदर, बेसिकली मैं बताऊंगा, when a model fails, when a model does not give you good results, what can you do? You have to come back from this modeling step back to the EDA part, and you have to correct that your data. You have to do this again so that your model can give you good results. Okay. Okay. So what is this step now? It involves two things. Number one is the wrangling, and the second step is visualization. Okay. So when you have collected the data, all of the data which is required, and transformed it into a form, into a way which you want, around which your problem can be solved. So now what you can do is, now the EDA part starts. EDA can be done by a data analyst and should be done by a data scientist. Okay. So data analyst kya hota hai? Data analyst is a person who analyzes the data. Okay. So analyzing data means that you have to wrangle it. Wrangle means, or wrangling means that you have to correct, concise, complete your data set. Okay. So people who works in data domains, then already they would know that the data which is coming is not complete, it is not concise, it is not correct. There are some corrections to be done, there are some steps which you need to do in form, in a way that you have to complete your data set. There are many columns, many entities, many dimensions which have null values in that columns or attributes. Okay. So you have to complete that information, because when you go to the modeling part, your algorithm, your model is purely maths and stats. It does not understand an empty value, a null value, or something which is written in strings and text form. Okay. Maths does not know what is AHMED, Ahmed. Okay. Maths does not know what is Shaheen Afridi, what is Shahid Afridi, what is Naseem Shah, what is Haris Rauf. Okay. So we need to prepare our data set in a way that it becomes translatable, understandable, or processable by our models, by our algorithms. Okay. And how do we do that? There are some steps we'll discuss later, but the first thing is wrangling. Wrangling comes, you have to complete it. So if there are null values, I have to fill that gaps, I have to fill that those values, I have to complete that column, that dimension, that attribute. Next is we have to concise it. We have to correct our data set in a form that it is the form which will be followed throughout your data set. For example, so we discussed that when we were getting data, there were some assumptions and limitations associated with different data sources. So let's say Crick Info says S dot Afridi. When you get the data from ICC, it says Shaheen Afridi, written in all small letters. When you get data from another source, it says Shaheen dot A. Okay, so now the person is one person, Shaheen Afridi, but you are getting data in different forms. Okay, so we have to correct it. How? By changing, by replacing S dot Afridi with Shaheen Afridi, replacing Shaheen dot A with Shaheen Afridi, replacing Shaheen written in small caps with S capital. So there should be a structure, there should be a format in which you have to form that data set. You have to convert that data set. Okay. So there are some pre-processing steps which you need to do to treat that data well. So this all steps comes under wrangling. Okay, handling missing values, correcting the structuring your data set. Okay, now the other part which it is adding new columns. So feature engineering is all also comes under EDA. You have to create new features out of that thing. So for example, you have that weather report. So ac- according to weather report, it is, so you have to dissect that weather report, or you have to translate or transform it into different features. So for example, what is the dew, uh, so what will be the dew tomorrow in the match? What is the wind? How will winds blow? How will what will be the dryness in that area? Whether it is played in evening or night? Uh, so all of these features. So there was one feature from the weather source, there was one column. Now you split that column into multiple columns, adding new columns into that, and so so that when you give that data to your model, so model can clearly identify the dependencies. So whether night and day match, whether it is a day match or it is a night match, does it depend, or does it have dependency upon which team will win or not? So algorithm or model needs to have clear features, needs to have clear dimensions on which he can decide the dependencies. How a model works. So let me just give you one quick overview of that as well. So when you give data to your model, what does it do? It it sort of, so you have, let's, five columns, five features, and now model needs to decide who will win upon that features. Okay, so if you give four features, model will have to decide upon four features. If you give a model 20 features, model will try to develop dependencies around that 20 features and sort of predict around that 20 features. The information is in that features I'm referring to columns. Okay, if you're talking about structured data, so every column, every dimension, every feature is important, or every feature um, contributes towards understanding your towards the understanding of your model, that who will win and who will lose. Okay, so you need to clearly include, add, or perform feature engineering in a way that your problem gets very simpler. It becomes simpler for a model to understand that. When I was saying that if a model is not performing well, if it is giving you only 50 or 60% accurate results, that means that your model is not uh, underperforming. It means that your data is not uh, you can say, and not fully prepared for model to understand that problem. Okay, so In EDA, what we do is we complete new existing features, we handle the missing values, we structure it in a way, in a format which is followed throughout the data set. All the players should have names, their names in similar format. The timings should be similar. Let's say you have a column of day and night, okay, and there's written day. Some websites might uh, define it as DAY in capital form. Some might have it in just DAY in small letters. Some might have it in the form of timings like 8 to 5 and then 5 to 6, and so you getting my point. So we need one structure, one format for all of our uh, अच्छा so मैं ये कह रहा था कि I'm just developing that sense out of you guys that, let's say, our our ultimate goal is to create a model, right? A model which is performing well. ठीक है? So if a model who is performing well, it depends upon the quality of data you inject in that model. Okay, because modeling an algorithm works on the data. It defines dependencies. It defines relationships from that data you give it. So if your data is not quality data, your model will not understand the hidden patterns and will not derive that those dependencies, and it will not perform well. Okay, so it is very important for a model to perform well that you give him, you give it a quality data. And what is a quality data? It should be complete, it should be concise, it should be structured, it should not have missing values, it should have a clear feature engineered value, clear features. So if you give features, let's say I have to predict Pakistan and India match, and I give him the feature, for example, referee would be our referee. This is the amount of people present in a stadium. Uh, our commentators are this. So all of these three features, they depend upon who will win or who will not? Our problem does not depend upon these features. So you only give those features on which you think your problem might be dependent. Okay. So and so we need to reduce our features. So we will do feature reduction. We will, and side by side we will add new features which comes under feature engineering, and then we will visualize those features. So this is a to and fro method. You pick one feature, you pick one column, you complete it, you structure it, and then you visualize it. And when you do the visualization, you get the pattern. You So EDA is not done only for the modeling. EDA is also done for you to understand that problem. So when you visualize a column, a feature, an attribute, it gives you some sort of statistical information, some sort of trend. So you can understand your problem well. So if you are understanding your problem well, only then model will understand that also. Okay, so we need, this is very important step. We have to complete EDA part with, so let's say I have a month to solve this problem. So my you can say 50% of my time I should give it to this step, the EDA part, because this is my building block, the stepping stone. My If I did not put first brick in the right place, my whole building will collapse. So you have to structure it well. And that structuring, that building part, that building the sense, knowledge sense, domain understanding, this all is done under EDA part. Okay, and what is included in EDA part? You just have to structure your data, complete your data. You have to derive new features. You have to remove the unrelated features. You have to check the correlations, the dependencies, the patterns, the trends. So all of this is done under EDA by using two steps. You pick one column, you wrangle it. Wrangle means complete it. and all the processing, and then you visualize it. And when you visualize it, you come to know about that domain, about that understanding. So for example, giving you an example, let's say Pakistan and India, and I have a column of year from previous 5 years, let's say. So when I visualize that, this just two columns, year column and win and loss. So I get to know, okay, now I know. So in first I have, let's say, 2 lakh rows or 2000 rows. But if I ask you from that 2000 rows, how many times Pakistan won? Okay. So now to process the 2000 information, you go one by one from the rows. That is difficult. But all those 2000 rows information combined in one visualization or one visual form. Now you can clearly see, okay, from this data, from this visualization, I can see, let's say 60% of the times Pakistan won and 40% Pakistan lost. Okay, so visualization gives you the pattern and trend and the hidden trends, you can say, uh, from your that data. So just like so this is again a high level understanding I'm giving you about EDA. When we come to our course, we will do this practice, the EDA part. It is, you can say, a 20-hour long session we'll have on EDA. We will hands on it, practice it. I'll give you the tips and techniques, everything we'll do, how to do a better, or how, what is the ideal way of performing an EDA and what things are involved in it. So just to summarize this part, EDA is very, very, very important. Upon this EDA, our modeling performance depends. And again, uh, there was this thing I mentioned in last slides, that domain knowledge is very important. So how would a beginner understand domain knowledge? So EDA helps you in understanding your problem and your domain as well. Okay. So when you do analysis, when you perform analysis, you create visualizations. What is that? That is you getting the domain knowledge from the data. Okay. So before that, I didn't know that how many times Pakistan won and Pakistan lost. But now, when from that data, I created a visualization. Now I know how many times Pakistan won, how many times Pakistan lost. Similarly, another visualization, including, so Pakistan. So let's say the visualization gives you some sort of visualization that Pakistan, when plays, perform well in rainy conditions than a dry conditions. So this is a start, this is information which you get from the visualization, not from the data itself. But that is hard to get, but from this visualization, you are getting your domain understanding. You are building that thing, that, okay, I can get this information from a visualization. Our model can also grasp that and or understand that hidden pattern or dependency, that Pakistan, if it is going to rain tomorrow, Pakistan will win. Okay, if it not going to rain tomorrow, Pakistan winning probability of Pakistan will decline. So you first you need to understand that, only then model will understand. And then there's another aspect of this. So you do EDA, you didn't do EDA. Your problem was very simple. You tried modeling it, and modeling is giving 80% accurate results. You say, okay, best. I have gotten a very good algorithm, a model. So now let's just sit with business and uh, make it happen. Okay. So now business will question you upon your predictions. Why are you saying Pakistan will win tomorrow? Do you have the answer of that question? If you haven't done your EDA well, you will not be able to answer that question, that why my model is saying Pakistan will win tomorrow. In order to answer this why, you need to know that why my model thinks like that. Why is your model thinking like that? Because the answer is in the EDA. Because it is rainy, because it is playing, the match is being played in Dubai, because some other features values. So you will, because let's say you have a feature of form, because Pakistan has previous winning record, because of this, because of this, because of this. So you will answer that question from the EDA, from that visualizations. Okay, that
Sir,
why my model is saying Pakistan will win tomorrow, because on these facts. Okay, so if you do not understand, if you didn't, you don't know the domain knowledge, you haven't gone through, you haven't performed your EDA well, you can never answer questions which will come from the business side. Okay, and if
sir,
you are not able to answer that questions, there goes your model in the dustbin. Okay, so as a data scientist, this part is very, very important because it gives you the understanding of your problem, and it will tell you why your model is saying Pakistan will win or Pakistan will not win. There are multiple techniques. There are multiple different techniques. So let's say a data science is not all about predictions. Not every algorithm gives you prediction. Okay, so there are different tasks. So let's say I want to, so for example, our problem was a classification task because we have two classes. One is win and one is loss. Okay, so Pakistan will win or Pakistan will lose. So we have two classes. So this is a classification task. We have to predict win or loss. Okay, then there are some tasks in which you do not have to predict something. There are some tasks like I want to cluster my data. So I have around like 20,000 customers. I want to cluster, I want groups, I want three groups. I want 20,000 customers to be divided into three groups based upon their behavior, based upon their usage, based upon their likeness or dislikeness. So there are multiple tasks and techniques which are involved in identifying so that you will go with which algorithm and which not. Okay, so let's say I have decided, because my problem was of classification, was of prediction. So I decided to go with those algorithms. I will select those algorithms, shortlist those algorithms which will fulfill my problem, my type of task. Okay, so now in this type, you will shortlist, let's say, four or five algorithms. Now you have those algorithms. What will you do? So this choose step. So choose algorithms. So I have shortlisted those five. Now I will build those algorithms. अच्छा, यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन ये था कि किसी का आया था कि algorithms तो already बने बनाए होते हैं. They are already coded. So you do not have to build that algorithm again. So मैं यहाँ पे clear कर दूं. When we say build or train, this means that algorithm is there. You only have to tweak it. Okay. So an algorithm has some parameters defined in its default form. So we have to tweak those parameters. So when I change, so parameters of that algorithm, that algorithm becomes specific to my problem. Now it is a different algorithm. I have built a new algorithm based upon based upon the values of those parameters which I gave it. Okay, so build is here because you do not build that algorithm from scratch. It is already there. Only you have to tweak it. You have to change the parameters of that algorithm. Okay, according to your situation, your problem. So it becomes specific to your domain, so to your problem, and then you train that algorithm. So we train that algorithm is trained. It will give you the predictions as an output. When you have that prediction as an output, then you will validate those predictions. Okay, so if I have to predict who will win tomorrow, doesn't mean that, or does it mean that created a model, I build it, and now how can I validate it that if my model is giving right predictions or not? Match तो कल होना है ना. तो मैं आज बैठ के अपनी प्रेडिक्शन को कैसे वैलिडेट कर सकता हूँ? हम व्हाट वी विल डू इज दैट, फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने आई कलेक्टेड डेटा फॉर द पास्ट 10 years. What I will do is I'll divide that data set into 2 or 3 portions, into 2 or 3 steps. Okay, I say I will train my model on let's say 7 years of 5 years of data set. ठीक है, my model will be trained on 5 years of data set, and then I will keep 3 years separate for the testing part. So model will give Pakistan will win tomorrow, will win tomorrow or whatever the timeline, and I already have that prediction with me. So I have the prediction, I have the actual label also. So I'll compare those. Model is saying that Pakistan will win the match. So I already have the actual result with me. Okay. So I will compare those. If my model is saying it will win and the actual is also the same, I say that my model is giving me correct prediction. If my model says Pakistan will win and Pakistan did not win that 2022 match, so that means that our model is giving us wrong prediction. So for the 2023 match, yes, tomorrow match, we don't have actual label. We don't have that actual result with us. So we cannot validate our model or test our model on tomorrow's match. But yes, we can validate from yesterday's match. Okay, because for yesterday we have the actual results with us. We will not give it to the model, we will hide it from the model, and model will predict it. When model will predict yesterday's match result, let's say model says Pakistan will lose, and I have the actual results with me, और पाकिस्तान उसमें जीत गया था. So now I will compare those. So there are many questions I know around you. आप लोगों के माइंड में बहुत सारे questions होंगे around this segregation of training, validation, and testing data sets. ये चीज आप तब समझोगे जब हम एक्चुअली में जब आप इस चीज में घुस रहे होगे. फॉर द हाई लेवल अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इस चीज में नहीं घुसना कि बस ये चीज एस्टैब्लिश कर लो कि अगर मैंने कल के लिए प्रेडिक्शन करनी है, इफ आई वांट टू प्रेडिक्ट फ्यूचर, I need to test my model on the past and present. Sorry, past. Present तो हम अभी काम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So if I want to predict future, I will have to test my model first, modeling results first on past data. Okay. So if I want to predict what will happen in 2023, I will train my model in 2020 for till 2020, and I will keep 21 and 22 for the testing part. Okay, and then if the results of my model for year 2021 and 2022 are accurate, 80%, 90%, now I am sure that whatever my model predicts of the future of the 2023 year, it will be 80% or 90% accurate. Okay, so this is again a part of data scientist. Acha, now the confusion comes. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है data scientist slash ML engineer. Okay, so एक और डिस्कशन यहाँ से स्टार्ट ही होती है कि जी मशीन लर्निंग इंजीनियर, एक ML इंजीनियर और डेटा साइंटिस्ट में क्या डिफरेंस है. सो मैं इस चीज पे बाद में आता हूँ, let's just complete this life cycle first, and then we'll explore this question as well. Okay, so now we are creating a model. We chose our algorithm, we build it, we start the training, our model is trained. When our model is trained, we will we will get predictions out of it. When we have the prediction, we will validate its result from the past. Okay, and then when we are sure, we deploy it in the live scenario. Now we say, okay, 2021 and 2022, for 2021 and 2022 year, my model is giving 90% accurate results. So now I can deploy it. I gave it to my channel or whatsoever agency, and we deploy it. Deployment means that giving the the values of features of today. Okay, so कल के मैच में मैच कहाँ पे हो रहा है, कल के मैच में वेदर कंडीशंस कैसी हैं, कल के मैच में पिच रिपोर्ट कैसी है, टुमारोज मैच के अंदर पॉपुलर कौन है, ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मैंने जब आज की दी है करंट, so model will give me the prediction. Okay, now I have the prediction with me that my model says Pakistan will win tomorrow. Now comes the testing. This testing is the live scenario testing. अब कल मैच होगा, tomorrow the match will happen and actual results will come in. So Pakistan, my model was saying Pakistan will win, and the actual result also comes that Pakistan won. So now I compared my, so all this activity, my model with actual. So now I will get the actual percentage or actual accuracy of my model. And based upon this, my model will have a standing, or it will be presentable to the, or it will be in a sellable position. Okay, we have tested it on the past data set and we have tested it on the live as well. So we have this 80 90% accuracy on past and 90% accurate results on the live scenario. Now we can sell it as a product or whatever, as a service or whatever. Okay, so this whole practice is being done to identify whether, or to establish your trust upon the model. So if, so how to establish a trust on your model's prediction? Obviously you will trust those, that model who gives you right predictions or accurate predictions. Okay, so 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 we need to establish that. How it will be established? We will check it on our past data set. Okay, so you can establish that. Then we will some sort of give it an unseen data, okay, or the live scenario data, and we get more out of that. So the last step is again very, very important. As I mentioned earlier, your high performing model can easily go to the dustbin. And this has happened with me in my early years. So when I was working in Huawei, so I created a model and it was working so well, giving me 90% accurate results, but it went to the dustbin. Why? Because it didn't create any value. Obviously, it would have created a value, but I was unable to sell that value to the business. Okay. Why I was unable to sell that? Because I did not understand the domain and the value associated with that. And how will I get that knowledge? From the EDA. अगर मैंने EDA अच्छा किया हो, अगर, so because अच्छा EDA means giving more time to the EDA. Giving more time means getting to know the problem well, getting to understand the domain well. And when you understand the domain well, when you understand the problem well, only then you can sell that solution of that problem. You don't know problem, you don't understand the question, you don't understand the domain, how will you able to sell that problem or solution? Okay, so I was able to communicate that value to the business, and hence my model went to the dustbin. And my 3 months of doing all these steps, performing this data science life cycle, went to drain because of this last step, because I was unable to create a storytelling around it. Okay, so let's say uh, uh, government, let's say the government of Pakistan, uh, uh, gives you the to predict or to classify, or let's say to predict that person A, B, and C are taxpayer or not, something like that. And you have created the model and it is working, it is, you have tested it, you have validated your results, it is high performing model. But when you sit with government of Pakistan, will you explain government of Pakistan that I chose this model, this is working, this is this is random forest, this is algorithm, this is differentiation, this is probability, this is that? No, you will connect that question with the solution, the problem with the solution, and the value it is associated with, and why you are saying that Pakistan will win tomorrow. All of these questions in a very presentable, quality visualizations, storytelling के साथ अब ये जब बताओगे तब वो चीज होती है. So तो connecting the dots. So इस स्टेप के अंदर जो लास्ट फेज होता है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. अगेन ये कोई बंदा आपको ये स्किल ऑफ स्टोरी टेलिंग, ऑफ क्रिएटिंग अ गुड पीपीटी, गुड स्लाइड डेक, ये चीजें, ये चीज, हाउ टू प्रेजेंट समथिंग, हाउ टू सेल समथिंग, ये these are skills which no one will teach you. You have to master it. And how to master it? You master it by your experience, by your practice, by understanding the domain in which you are delivering these services. ये सब चीजें उससे आती हैं. ठीक है. So before going taking some questions, I can see some hands raised. Let me summarize this whole life cycle to you. So acha guys, one thing is should be very clear. The life cycle should be very clear to you. If you know the life cycle, you can solve any problem through a data science. If you know the data science life cycle in bits and it is clear to you, you have a question, spend time on that question, uh, as think about or list down, jot down everything you know about that question or comes to your mind. Then put that things to work, or आप उसके around get the data, acquire that data from wherever, define sources from wherever you can get that data, who will get that data, in how much time you will get that data, in what form you want that data to be done, prepare that data. How? By doing the ETL, you have to transform that data. ठीक है? You have to transform it around your problem. You have done that. You come to the EDA part. You explore the features. You explore every feature in bits to the very low level, like कि एक एक बंदे की चीज को एक्सप्लोर करना कि अच्छा इसमें शाहीन अफरीदी का नाम सही लिखा हुआ है क्या, शाहीन अफरीदी की मेरे डेटा सेट के अंदर जितनी भी रोज हैं उन सब के अंदर वो एक ही फॉर्मेट में है या नहीं. ठीक है. सो कहीं पे कोई मिसिंग वैल्यू तो नहीं है. सो all of this you have to wrangle your data bit by bit, and then visualization is very important because from visualization you get to know, you get to understand the business, you get to understand the problem, you get the domain knowledge, you get that stats, how, and you get that answers of that question, that जब मेरा मॉडल किसी को कहेगा कि ये विन करेगा तो वो क्यों कह रहा है कि विन कर रहा है. व्हाई इट इज सेइंग दैट पाकिस्तान विल विन? बिकॉज वेदर डिपेंडेंसी है, पाकिस्तान रेनी वेदर्स में अच्छा परफॉर्म करता है इसलिए, बिकॉज दुबई में जितने मैचेस होते हैं पाकिस्तान ज्यादातर जीतता है, दैट इज व्हाई कल का मैच दुबई में तो पाकिस्तान जीतेगा. ठीक है. तो ऑल ऑफ दीज आंसर्स यू विल गेट फ्रॉम द ईडीए. देन ईडीए के अंदर यू हैव टू परफॉर्म द फीचर सिलेक्शन. फीचर सिलेक्शन कि कौन कौन से फीचर्स आपने सेलेक्ट करने हैं, कौन से आपने निकालने हैं, कौन से न्यू फीचर्स ऐड करने हैं. यू हैव टू चेक कोरिलेशन, यू हैव टू चेक स्टैट्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. ठीक है. सो अगेन 50% of your time you would have to spend on your EDA, 20% probably on uh, acquisition and transforming that data, 50% in the EDA form, 20% probably on the modeling part, then 20 on the you can say 10 or 15% on the testing and validation, and then comes the 5% on the storytelling, boarding and all that, because this is also very important step. So modeling curly modeling, you have performed model, you have to validate your model, you have to check whether in every scenario your model is working, is giving right answers or not. Let's say I have to predict a fraud detection model, and I haven't tested that model well or validated that model well in every aspects or in every domain in different structures. And what happens is that I have deployed that model, let's say for a banking sector, and now that bank so will, based upon the predictions of my model, will do or perform some actions. So let's say I go to ATM and I do a transaction of XYZ amount, and that transaction is blocked by the bank, saying that their model has predicted that this is a fraudulent transaction. So अब होगा क्या इससे कि मेरी जो transaction थी, that was very normal, it was not a fraudulent activity, but because banking model thought that this is the transaction, fraudulent transaction, they blocked it. होगा क्या, कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस बुरा होगा. आई विल, एक दफा होगा मेरे साथ, मैं दो दफा होगा, तीन दफा होगा. सो होगा क्या कि मेरा उसका बैंकिंग के साथ एक्सपीरियंस बुरा होगा. इवेंचुअली आई लीव दैट बैंक and it will cost that bank. Okay, because जो कस्टमर की कॉस्ट होती है ना एक बैंक को, वो बहुत ज्यादा पड़ रही होती है कस्टमर लेके आने की, because हर every customer gives some revenue to the a business. So ये जो पार्ट है ना मॉडलिंग का पार्ट, सेकंड पार्ट, दिस इज वेरी important in a way that you have to perform this step very closely and repeatedly. This is a, you can see this is a to and fro method. You can see arrow going. So yeah, so you choose an algorithm, you train it, you validate test it. It is not giving an optimal results, you choose another algorithm, you train it, you test it, not good results, you choose another algorithm. So I have shortlisted 5 algorithms, so I'll train and test all 5 algorithms. Okay, so out of those 5 algorithms I select one algorithm which was outperforming other 4. Okay, so when I have shortlisted my one algorithm from this exercise, then I will deploy and test or validate it in the live scenario on or the unseen data or on different data set. That algorithm which was performing well, one algorithm. So if it does not perform well on the unseen data or on the future data, then again this arrow will come back to the choose part. Now that means that you have to perform this modeling part, modeling exercise, and then again and again till you get the optimal algorithm which is performing well on the unseen data as well. Okay, and अगर सारे algorithms fail हो जाते हैं, आपने 10 algorithms ट्राई कर लिए हैं, आपको 60% से ऊपर रिजल्ट्स ही नहीं आ रहे, अब यहाँ पे वो चीज आती है कि अब आप क्या करोगे. Now how to improve that 60 or how to take that 60% accuracy to the 90%, it depends upon your EDA. You will go back to your EDA and you will increase or you will do feature engineering, you will add more features to your data set so that your problem becomes simpler, your problems become solvable for the algorithm, or that information becomes digestible for the algorithm to give you right predictions. Okay, so that is why I was saying EDA इतना important है कि आपके अगले जो 20% का काम है वो मेक और ब्रेक हो सकता है. तो अगर EDA अच्छा है, अच्छे रिजल्ट्स आएंगे. मॉडल की कुछ लिमिटेशंस होती हैं, मॉडल क्वालिटी डाटा दोगे तो ही क्वालिटी रिजल्ट्स आएंगे, अगर गलत डाटा दोगे, अच्छे फीचर्स नहीं बने हुए, तो मॉडल कुछ भी कर दो, मॉडल जितना मर्जी आप न्यूरल नेटवर्क पावरफुल ले आओ, मॉडल अच्छे रिजल्ट्स नहीं देगा. Okay, so that is why most of your time should go under or spend under EDM. Acha, now, so this was all. uh Moving forward, so this data science life cycle, I assume that should a high level understanding should have been built around this. Everyone should understand, should not be able to understand or dissect a data science problem or different phases जो life cycle के अंदर आते हैं, how to approach a problem and how to get value out of that problem. ठीक है, ये सारा complete हो गया. Now हम एक next discussion के अंदर जा रहे हैं. अब ये जो next discussion है, this is about the skills, about different roles associated with this data science and AI. We see different job descriptions, different or job openings: data analyst, ML engineer, data engineer, DevOps engineer, and data scientist. So I have listed some domains here. So let's say data analyst. So data analyst, for data analyst, programming tools are not very important. They are somewhat important. Okay, but for a data analyst, data visualization and communication skill is very, very important. Similarly, data intuition is very important. Statistics is somewhat important, but you can see for a data analyst, machine learning is not that important. Okay. Similarly, for ML engineer. So if I compare ML engineer with a data scientist, okay, for a data scientist, all of these are very, very, very important. But if you compare it with ML engineer works around programming tools, machine learning, calculus, math, stats, software engineering, but data visualization and communication, data wrangling, software, so data wrangling and data visualization communication. These two are not very important for a ML engineer. But if you see data scientist should have understanding of programming languages, should have strong grip over visualization and communication, should have strong grip over statistics, should have machine learning and data wrangling, should understand math, stats, and software engineering well. Why? Because if you come back to the life cycle, an ML engineer only performs the modeling part. I mean, ML engineer is the work of ML engineer is only limited towards the modeling part itself. ठीक है? But a data scientist, ये सारे काम from A to Z सब डेटा साइंटिस्ट की जिम्मेदारी है, responsibility होती है. So data scientist is a broader term. Data science is a broader term जिसके अंदर there are multiple parts. Some parts can be done by a data analyst, some can be done by ML engineer, some can be done by data engineer, some can be done by DevOps engineer. So DevOps क्या होती है? DevOps means कि आपने वो मॉडल को डिप्लॉय भी तो करना है ना. So for example, agar if I want to predict what will going to happen tomorrow and I want to deploy it on a server जहाँ पे टीवी चैनल्स या डिफरेंट चीजें जो हैं, जो डिफरेंट एंटिटीज जो हैं, वो उसको यूज कर सके इन यूजेबल मैनर उन प्रेडिक्शंस को. ठीक है, सो वो काम सारा कहाँ आता है? डेवऑप्स इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर के डेवलपमेंट के साथ साथ उसके ऑपरेशंस. ठीक है, so this is deployment and DevOps engineering. So ये अब काम, this is DevOps engineer, but a data scientist should also know about it and it should be capable of deploying that as well. ठीक है, so as a data scientist, you have to be champion of you have to master all these skills. ठीक है, if you want to work as a DevOps engineer, you would not have to worry about modeling. You would not have to worry about uh, wrangling and EDA. You will not be performing that. Your job is to only deploy that algorithm or model on a server on a platform. But similarly, if you're working as a data engineer part is to only do engineering of the data to perform ETL, to acquire and ingest that in a warehouse, in a lake, in a form. If you are working as a so business owners, what do business owners do? Business owner gives you the question, business owners translate that questions to you, business owner test your predictions. Okay, so business owner also test your predictions, your modeling results. Business owner also do the storytelling. So when I was in Huawei, my role was more of a, you can say, ML engineer role, because Huawei uh, is is a very secure, has a very secure environment, and there all the data they have is located in some sort of server which is in China. And whenever you want to get data, you have to send an email and request them to give you the data and access and all that. So my work was more about around EDA and the modeling, okay, and the testing. Yeah. So I was working around 1, 2, and 3 domains. But and so the storytelling, the testing, and the other part, the all was handled by some other guys. So my manager was handling the storytelling. So now when I came to Telenor, all of this was my sole responsibility. I have to get the data, I have to do the EDA, I have to get the modeling done, I have to deploy it. Okay, I have to test it, and I was the one who was going to present it to the senior manager, to the even the CMO. Okay, so all of this, a data scientist should be capable of doing all of these. But uh, other you can say ml engineer will not get the data, ml engineer will not perform EDA. So data analyst or data scientist will perform the EDA and give it to the ML engineer. What will ML engineer do? ML engineer will have strong grip over the algorithms, of tweaking that algorithms, inside working of that algorithms, how different parameters of different algorithms change the results. Okay, so ML engineer would have strong grip over the algorithms modeling part. Okay, but as a data scientist, you have to get all of this. Okay, so always, so you have to become a full stack. जिस तरह फुल स्टैक डेवलपर्स होते हैं, वो उनको फ्रंट एंड, बैक एंड, एवरीथिंग उनको नो हाउ होती है। सिमिलरली जो डेटा साइंटिस्ट होता है वो एक फुल स्टैक होता है, उसको इंजीनियरिंग का भी पता होता है, फ्रॉम वेयर डेटा इज कमिंग, what are the limitations, what are the sources, how we will prepare it, how we have to model it, how we have to test it, and how we will have to present it. This all comes under uh, data scientist responsibilities, and he should have all these skills. So सबसे पहले you have to understand data. What is data? ठीक है, data क्या है, data किस form में हो सकता है? There are three types of data. One is your structured data. Structured data, if it say example of a structured data. So structured data is a data which is in the form of rows and columns straight away. A structured data is that data which is in the form of rows and columns. Okay. Then we have semi-structured data. So semi-structured data, so unstructured data पहले पढ़ लेते हैं. What is unstructured data? Unstructured data means that it is not in a structured form. It is not in a structured way. That means that let's say आपके पास जो images होती हैं, images is not rows and columns. Video is not rows and columns. आपका जो text होता है, you chat with the chatbot. It is not structured. आपकी जो ऑडियो होती है, ऑडियो इज नॉट स्ट्रक्चर्ड. ओके, सो इमेजेस, वीडियो, ऑडियोज, टेक्स्ट, ये सारी चीजें क्या है, अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा है. स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा क्या होता है, विच structured data is those the data which is in the form of rows and columns. Okay, then we have unstructured, semi-structured data. What is semi-structured data? That it is partially structured and partially unstructured. So let's say a hybrid data. So for example, you have an email. Okay, so email is a good example of semi-structured data, because in that email there are some so you can see a structure in that email, that you have some columns. So if I uh, at the back, so if I get the data out of email, it is a semi-structured data. Why? Because you have some columns: sender, receiver, cc, con tha. So you have all these columns, and then you have the attachments there. So that attachments, in that attachments you have unstructured data. You have some files, you have some images, you have some audios, you have some recordings and all that. So that is a semi-structured data. Okay, so these are three types of data. And again, a semi-structured data can be converted into a structured data, and unstructured data can also be converted into a structured data. Okay, but ये इसकी रॉ फॉर्म्स हैं कि एक रॉ फॉर्म में डाटा एक्सेल के अंदर जो डाटा है जो रोज एंड कॉलम्स की फॉर्म में, दैट वी से इट इज अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड डाटा. अगेन रॉ फॉर्म. अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डाटा, इमेजेस के ऊपर जो लोग काम करते हैं, जो कंप्यूटर विजन पे काम कर रहे हैं, दे हैव द अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डाटा. ठीक है, बट वो अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा को ट्रांसफॉर्म करते हैं इनटू structured data. That one image, that one audio, that one video will be converted into a row and column form. Okay, हाउ विल दैट बी डन? कैसे होगा? कौन से टूल्स होंगे? कब क्या करना है? ऑडियो कैसे होती है? वीडियो कैसे होती है? हमारा ये टॉपिक नहीं है. ठीक है, बट अगेन इन आवर कोर्स वी विल बी कवरिंग दिस पार्ट देन, के आप हम इमेजेस पे डेटा सेट पे काम करेंगे, दैट हाउ टू कन्वर्ट your selfie, your image into a row and column form, into a 0 1 form, जो के easily understandable by is easily understandable by your machine. Okay, so ये तो हो गया type of data. Then हमारे पास आता है स्ट्रक्चर डेटा की अंदर डेटा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. एक स्ट्रक्चर डेटा के अंदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उसकी कैसे होती है? अगेन मैट्रिक्स की फॉर्म में होता है. यू हैव सम कॉलम नेम्स जिसको हम वेरिएबल नेम्स कहते हैं, वेरिएबल भी कहते हैं. यू रेफर इट एज डायमेंशन, वेरिएबल, योर एट्रीब्यूट. ये सब एक ही चीज के नाम है जो आपका कॉलम होता है. देन यू हैव योर रो विच जिसको ऑब्जर्वेशन कहते हैं. इसको आपको ग्रेन भी कहते हैं. जो मैं ग्रेन की बात कर रहा था ना, कि आपका डेटा कितना ग्रेनुलर है, कितना उसका ग्रेन है. सो इफ आई से द ग्रेन, व्हाट इज द ग्रेन ऑफ दिस डेटा सेट? सो अ ग्रेन इज व्हाट, कि मेरे पास एक ऑर्डर डेट है. So a transactional data in which I have uh, uh, features of a transaction. For example, what is sold in terms of unit, what was its cost, unit cost, what was its total cost, where was the what was the region of that transaction, who was the representative who did that transaction, what was the order date. ठीक है, so ये all those features ये आपका मिलके डेटा का grain बनाते हैं. This is the your data organization, how your data structure data is organized in rows and columns form. हमारे पास कुछ टाइप्स ऑफ वेरिएबल्स होते हैं. सो वी से दिस इज अ वेरिएबल. ये जो आपका कॉलम है, सो योर कॉलम्स इज अ वेरिएबल और एट्रीब्यूट और अ फीचर व्हिच कैन बी ऑफ मल्टीपल टाइप्स. ओके, तो यहाँ पे अगर इफ आई से, सो दिस फीचर इज ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप. ये आपके पास आइटम जो है इसके अंदर एक डिफरेंट टाइप आ रही है. ये कॉस्ट डिफरेंट है, टोटल डिफरेंट है. ठीक है, सो देयर आर मल्टीपल टाइप्स. अब टाइप्स कौन कौन सी होती हैं? देयर आर टू मेन टाइप्स. यू हैव न्यूमेरिकल एंड कैटेगोरिकल. व्हाट इज अ न्यूमेरिकल वेरिएबल? न्यूमेरिकल वेरिएबल इज अ वेरिएबल जिसके आप अंदर आपके पास अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेशंस कैन बी परफॉर्म्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल, आपके जो नंबर्स होते हैं 1 2 3 और 820 920, ठीक है. सो व्हाटसोएवर न्यूमेरिकल फॉर्म व्हिच कैन बी अरिथमेटिकली ऑपरेशनलाइज, जिसके ऊपर कोई ना कोई आप ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म कर सकते हो, सॉर्ट ऑफ प्लस माइनस एंड ऑल दैट. देन आपके पास होते हैं कुछ categorical columns, categorical features. What are those? Those features are those which possess some qualitative property. For example, I say मेरे पास एक कॉलम है जेंडर का, ठीक है. सो इस जेंडर के अंदर क्या पड़ा हुआ है? मेल एंड फीमेल. नाउ मेल एंड फीमेल is not numerical. You cannot perform any arithmetic operation on that. Yeah, right. So that will not come under numerical, it will come under categorical. Why? Because you now have distinct categories in that column. Male is a distinct category, males are different from females. ठीक है. So similarly, if I have a column of city and I have values Islamabad, Peshawar, Lahore, Karachi, Quetta. So all these values are distinct categories in that column. Okay, Islamabad is different from Peshawar, Peshawar is different from Karachi, Karachi is different from Lahore, Lahore is different from Quetta. Okay, so these type of variables we comes under categorical variable. So these two are clear, numerical and categorical. Then we have sub division of numerical. So discrete and continuous. Discrete are those numerical variables which are you can say whole numbers, which are, so let's say 25, 35, 45. And continuous are those which are in floating points, which are in points, decimal points, 23. So let's say I say, what is your age? So you can treat age as a discrete as well, but your age is, so your age is continuous in its pure nature, right? So if I am, let's say 30 years old, so 30 years old and some months, some days, some seconds, some minutes, okay? So your age is continuously changing. Okay, so this is by its pure nature, your age is a continuous numerical variable. The price is changing with every second, with every minute. Dollar price is shift, dollar के साथ साथ PKR भी shift होती है. So your price is also a continuous numerical variable. So we categorize. So जब हम EDA का part कर रहे होते हैं ना, so EDA के अंदर हमारे पास हम we have to determine that कौन सा variable, which feature, which column is of continuous numerical variable, which is discrete numerical variable, which is categorical, ordinal, and which is nominal. Because once you establish this, then आपके पास उसके साथ associated different processes होते हैं जो आपने perform करने होते हैं. You treat these features differently. Then आगे पास categorical आता है. Categorical के अंदर मजीद दो sub types होती हैं, ordinal and nominal. So let's say nominal. What is nominal? Where there is no order, incomparable. So जो मैं previous example दे रहा था, male and female. Do we have an order between male and female? क्या इस्लामाबाद एंड कराची आर के अंदर कोई ऑर्डर है? इज इस्लामाबाद इज ग्रेटर देन कराची इन सम सॉर्ट? नो, दोनों डिस्टिंक्ट कैटेगरीज हैं, दोनों में कोई ऑर्डर नहीं है. ठीक है. हाँ, बट बाद में आप उसको ट्रीट कर सकते हो कि जी पॉपुलेशन के लिहाज से आई कैन ऑर्डर देम. ठीक है. बट इन इट्स actual form there is no order in its natural form. Similarly, male female, no order, no form. Similarly, name Ahmed and Ali, both are different. There is no order between them. They are distinct categories, but with no order. Similarly, we also have some categories which have some order in it. For example, we call them ordinal. So they have some category order in it. For example, high, medium, and low. So high is another category, medium another category, low is another category. But we have an order in it: high, medium, and low. Similarly, extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, double XL. So the all of these five or six, they are distinct categories. Small is different from large, but there is an order, natural order present in between them. That large is always greater than small. Okay, so we have to categorize our या डेटा सेट इन दीज के ऑर्डिनल कौन से कॉलम्स हैं, नॉमिनल कॉलम्स कौन से हैं, कॉन्टिन्यूअस कौन से हैं एंड डिस्क्रीट कौन से हैं। ओके, सो ये आपने एस्टैब्लिश करना है। दिस इज क्लियर। ओके, सो नेक्स्ट वी हैव सम टाइप ऑफ वेरिएबल्स जो कि जो डेटा साइंस जो टर्म्स हैं वो डेटा साइंस हैं। सो ये जो आपने टाइप्स पढ़ी हैं, कैटेगोरिकल, नॉमिनल, ये उसकी ओरिजिनल जेन्युइन फॉर्म के अंदर बात हो रही है। बट व्हेन वी कम टू डेटा साइंस, सॉल्विंग अ डेटा साइंस प्रॉब्लम, वी हैव टू टाइप्स ऑफ वेरिएबल्स। एक होता है आपके पास, वन यू हैव इज रेस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल एंड वन you have is explanatory variable. So, for example, what is response variable? Response variable, it is the focus of a question in a study or experiment. It is the variable we want to predict or observe. ठीक है? So response variable. So हमारी what was the response variable in our problem? Who will win tomorrow's match? तो उसके अंदर probably हमारे पास एक कॉलम होगा, एक फीचर होगा जिसका नाम होगा विन और लॉस। ठीक है, वो जो कॉलम है, दैट कॉलम according to our problem is our response variable. We have to predict that column. So for example, let's change the situation. Let's say we talk about fraud or not fraud. We are to be talking about fraud detection. So we will have among that columns, among all this, so you भी change करते हैं। Let's say this is this example. We have this sample data. We want to predict the total amount. Okay. So ये जो total amount का जो column है, we will treat this column, we will say total is my response variable. And all of these variables, order, date, region, representative, item, unit, cost, all of these are explanatory variables. Okay. Total is our response variable and all of these other are explanatory variables. Now आप explanatory variables की भी definition पढ़ लो. It is a variable on which the response variable depends, or the variable which explains the response variable. It is assumed to be independent variable, और जो response variable होता है वो dependent variable होता है. Now coming back to this, when I say total is my response variable, what does this mean? That I have to predict total amount. Okay, I say that your response variable is also the dependent variable. Why response variable is called dependent variable? Because this total is dependent upon cost. जितनी cost है ना, उस हिसाब से total calculate होगा. This total is also dependent upon units. कितने यूनिट्स होंगे वो मल्टीप्लाइड बाय कॉस्ट आपकी टोटल अमाउंट निकलेगी. दिस टोटल इज आल्सो डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द रीजन. हर रीजन की प्राइसेस डिफरेंट होंगी. दिस टोटल इज आल्सो डिपेंडेंट अपॉन रिप्रेजेंटेटिव. ठीक है, और ऑर्डर डेट. सो टोटल, ये जो आपका रिस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल होता है, सम द कॉलम व्हिच यू हैव टू प्रिडिक्ट. लेट्स से आई वांट टू प्रिडिक्ट हु विल विन टुमारो. दैट column is dependent upon what? Weather, dependent upon pitch condition, dependent upon who will bat first, dependent upon who will ball first, dependent upon match किधर खेला जा रहा है, dependent upon popular कौन सी team है. ठीक है, all those features. So that is why response variable is called what? Dependent variable. And all of the other variables, all of these other variables, they are what? Explanatory variables. Because uh, cost क्या कर रही है? Cost is explaining how much the total will be. Units are explaining how much the total will be. So all of these features other than response variable are categorized under what? Explanatory variables. Okay. And another point, ये explanatory variables जितने भी हैं आपके पास, all of these explanatory variables are called independent variables. Total is your response variable and response variable is the dependent variable जो dependent होता है बाकियों पे. Explanatory variable are independent variables. Why? Because they are not dependent upon anything. Total is dependent upon uh, um, uh, most of it, but independent variables independent होते हैं. They are not dependent. They are explanatory. Why are explanatory? Because they explain the response, but they are not dependent. ये क्या है? ये response है, but it is dependent. Why? Because it is dependent upon explanatory variable. Acha, let's quickly move forward. And so independent variable influences or change in the dependent variable. So acha, so अगर आप जो independent variable होता है, independent variables are not related to each other, as we just saw that cost of a single pencil and the quantity and the region and the person who bought are not interconnected. They are independent of each other, but combined they create change in what? In the dependent variable, which is the response variable. That a single pencil has different to, total amount. 95 pencils have different total amount. A pencil sold in South Africa has different cost than a pencil sold in America. Okay, so all of these are independent but dependent, connected with the response variable. So we'll just quickly move forward. Relationships between variables. So yeah, this is what we were trying to establish, that your feature A and feature B should be correlated with each other. The thing you want to predict, so your response and your explanatory variable should show some correlation between them. Okay, so like, so if this happens then this, if this happens then this. अगर तो correlation है, ये बेशक वो negative है या positive है, it should have some correlation, both of these. ठीक है, so correlation क्या होते हैं? Two variables that do not show connection with each other are called independent variables. ठीक है, two variables that show connection with each other are called associated or correlated or dependent variables. Okay, and then there's another thing, यहाँ पे एक outlier का भी लिखा हुआ है. An observation that is away, that is not close to the majority of data is called outlier. But this is again, ये जो दो red points आपको नजर आ रहे हैं, we say these two red points are what? Outliers. Okay, because आपका general trend क्या है? एक positive increasing trend है. सारे data points, mostly all of the data points are present here in this region, but there are 2 points which are not near or close to your majority data points. So we can say that these two are outliers. Let's just not get into this discussion of the outlier for now. How to identify outlier, what are outliers. So you know what are outliers. Okay, an outlier is a thing which does not follow the majority pattern. Okay, but identify कैसे करते हैं, क्या क्या चीजें हैं, again ये एक topic है which will we will cover later on in our course. Is it clear for now? Okay, so now I just want to show you some aspects of data visualization and how data visualization is an important part of EDA and what is it all about. So data visualization, what do you do? Okay, so from the visualizations, we can form relationships. We can check relationships between variables, whether they are connected or not connected. So let's say we can plot a scatter plot, and scatter plot will show you some relationship between X and Y. Similarly, we can form, if we have multiple variables, let three, or if we want to check the relationship between 3, 4, 5 variables, we can form a bubble chart. Okay, we can compare, we can check distribution also. So if you want to check the distribution, so let's say I have a collected data set of my students, of all of you participants, and I have a column which is age, and I want to see which age is more popular among my students. So what I can do is I can plot a histogram on a single column, on that column, and I will have that, okay, 25 to 30 or 35 to 40 are the popular age groups in my columns. Okay, so from visualization you can check distribution, you can check relationships between columns, you can compare different columns by bar charts, column charts, okay, line plots. You can compose different as well. You can form a pie chart, again distribution plus composition. You can check stacked column chart, again composition plus distribution यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. And there are multiple waterfall chart, Sankey chart, there are multiple charts. We will discuss all of these in later. Again, there are multiple tools to build these plots as well, in Python, in Excel, in Power BI, in Tableau, in other type of tools. So we will discuss all of that later. Your visualization should not be limited. It is not, nothing is recommended here that for a data science Power BI visualization is not recommended. This is not true. You can get visualizations from any tool, from any source. Okay, the objective of forming a data visualization is that to understand the domain knowledge, to understand the business logic. Okay, acha. To understand comparisons and relationships among our data sets. Okay, so so when you form these relationships, how will you understand? So ह्यूमन ब्रेन वर्क्स डिफरेंटली. ठीक है, सो अगर मैं आपको एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम देता हूँ, इफ आई से यू, कैन यू count how many 9 are present in this data set? You have like 30 seconds. Within 30 seconds, can you count how many nines are here? Okay, some might have a supercomputer installed in their brain, so they, in just 30 seconds they counted 9 and 7 and 4. Some didn't get, but I can see one here. So I can see one here. So let's say if I presented you similar information in a different way. So for example, if I say now how many 9? Now can you count them in 30 seconds or less than 30 seconds? The data is same. I just visually change that form. Okay, visually I've changed it. The data was will exactly same. So here there was no color coding used, but now I have color coded 9. So now it becomes easier for me to process that information and to uh, perform any operation on that. So how many 9 was the question. So if I present, if I ask, or if I want you to process an information, I want to make it very obvious and clear. And how can I do that? By creating a visualization, by giving it colors, by creating a visualization which is easily understandable, or which is at least giving you the required information. Okay, so this is the power of visualization, that you can easily understand your domain knowledge. Again, you have numerical data. For numerical data, there are different types of plot which you can plot, which you can do with numerical data. So I have numerical data, I have age, I can plot an histogram, I can plot a box plot, Weiland plot, or density plot. All of these, not limited to just these four, there are multiple other as well, which you can form on numerical data. Similarly, if we have categorical data, if I have a data of countries, if I have a data of male, female, if a data of cities, okay, I can plot pie chart. I can plot heat maps, I can plot tree map, I can plot stat column chart, and many more other visualizations which I can plot, bubble plot, and all of that. Okay, so for different type of, so again, EDA is very important, and in that EDA, categorizing or determining the type of your data is very important, because if you know a column is categorical, only then you know that I have to form a pie chart, I have to form a bar plot. If you know a column is continuous, only then you can form a you can distinguish कि यार मुझे क्या बनाना है, मुझे हिस्टोग्राम बनाना है या डेंसिटी प्लॉट बनाना है. ओके, सो ये सारी बेसिक्स हैं ईडीए की. So quickly, I just want to show this video with you. Let me just uh, share my audio. So I want to show you a video just to show the power of visualization. Okay.
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space, with a bit of technical assistance from the crew.
So, here we go. First, an axis for health. Life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago, in 1810. Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. And in 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were sick and poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off, but not much. And now, why start the world? The Industrial Revolution makes countries in Europe and elsewhere move away from the rest. But the colonized countries in Asia and Africa, they are stuck down there. And eventually, the Western countries get healthier and healthier. And now we slow down to show the impact of the First World War and the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe! And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forge on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others try to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. United States was in the front, Japan was catching up. Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from oil, but still had short lives. And the Asian giants, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, they were still poor and sick down here. But look what is about to happen. Here we go again. In my lifetime, former colonies gained independence, and then finally they started to get healthier and healthier and healthier. And in the 1970s, then countries in Asia and Latin America started to catch up with the Western countries. They became the emerging economies. Some in Africa follows. Some Africans were stuck in civil war and others hit by HIV. And now we can see the world today in the most up-to-date statistics. Most people today live in the middle, but there are huge differences at the same time between the best of countries and the worst of countries. And there are also huge inequalities within countries. These bubbles show country averages, but I can split them. Take China, I can split it into provinces. There goes Shanghai. It has the same wealth and health as Italy today. And there is the poor inland province Guizhou. It is like Pakistan. And if I split it further, the rural parts are like Ghana in Africa.
And yet, despite the enormous disparities today, we have seen 200 years of remarkable progress. That huge historical gap between the West and the rest is now closing. We have become an entirely new converging world. And I see a clear trend into the future. With aid, trade, green technology and peace, it's fully possible that everyone can make it to the healthy, wealthy corner.
Well, what you just seen in the last few minutes is a story of 200 countries shown over 200 years and beyond. It involved plotting of 120,000 numbers. Pretty neat, huh?
It had a pretty good visualization, and it had a story connected. Okay, so the power of visualization is, now you see that they plotted. It had 200 countries, and so 200 countries they have 200 years data set. So 200 multiplied by 200, how much data it becomes? 120,000. Okay, almost. So all of these मतलब अब कह लो 120,000 rows से उन्होंने 4 मिनट की एक वीडियो बनाई. ठीक है. So the raw data, the data you have at hand is in the form of rows and columns. You cannot identify trends and patterns from that data set without visualization. Visualization is that important because अब सिर्फ 4 मिनट में आपने पूरी डोमेन समझ ली ना, एक तरह की, जो भी ये स्टोरी बता रहे थे. ठीक है. सो दैट इज व्हाई ईडीए के अंदर वो विजुअलाइजेशन का फैक्टर हमने रखा हुआ है, बिकॉज जब जब तक until and unless you cannot you until and unless you does not make a visualization, you does not form a connection, a relationship between response and variable column, and you visualize it. When you visualize it, only then you come to understand, you come to know about the hidden patterns in that data. Okay, and when you understand that, then आप वो जो modeling का question है ना कि why your model is predicting Pakistan will, why your model is saying this is a fraud, why your model is saying this is cancer, उसका जो answer है why का, वो आप तभी दे सकते हो when you have known all the patterns and trends from your data set you during EDA phase. Okay, so it is that important. Then कुछ statistics होते हैं जो involved होते हैं EDA के अंदर. EDA के अंदर आप हर feature का, हर column का you have to calculate mean, median and mode, जिससे आपको पता चलता है उस feature, उस column की central tendency क्या है, measure of center क्या है. Similarly आप उसकी measure of distribution देखते हो, या dispersion, या उसका spread जो होता है वो देखते हो, range, variance, standard deviation के through. सिमिलरली आप उसकी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन आइडेंटिफाई करते हो, स्क्यूनेस, कोर्टोसिस. ठीक है, ये सारी चीजें, राइट स्क्यूड, लेफ्ट स्क्यूड, ऑल ऑफ दिस इंफॉर्मेशन, ये सारे काम ईडीए के अंदर करने पड़ते हैं. It's okay if you don't know what is range, what is skewness, what is kurtosis. We will discuss it in detail. This is just to give you the high level fundamental knowledge के EDA के अंदर क्या क्या हो सकता है, how stats is involved in there, how visualization is involved. So why do we do EDA? To understand data properties, to find hidden patterns in the data, to suggest modeling strategies. Okay, to debug analysis. This is that debug analysis कि आप अपनी predictions को वापस debug करते हो, track करते हो कि why my model is saying this is this, why my model is saying this person is fraud, why. Okay, so वो आपको EDA. And to communicate results, all of the visualizations जो आप EDA के अंदर बनाते हो, वही visualizations आप बाद में डेटा साइंस लाइफ साइकिल के एंड पे जो स्टोरी टेलिंग का पार्ट था उसके अंदर आप वही विजुअलाइजेशन अपने पीपीटी के अंदर इंक्लूड करते हो, which gives it form, एक स्टोरी फॉर्म की शक्ल देने के लिए. ओके, सो ये सारी चीजें होंगी तो ही आपकी जो प्रॉब्लम है वो सॉल्व हो रही होगी और वैल्यू क्रिएट करेगी. Okay, now we comes to थोड़ा सा मैं देना चाहता हूँ आपको मशीन लर्निंग का बैकग्राउंड क्विकली इन जस्ट 5 or 10 minutes. अच्छा, मैं ना इस सब थ्योरी की बजाय मेरे पास एक वीडियो है 10 minutes की. मैं वो वीडियो आप लोगों को दिखाना चाहता हूँ कि उससे ना आपको पूरा ट्रेनिंग मॉडलिंग के ना अंदर का पार्ट समझ आ जाएगा, ट्रेनिंग टेस्टिंग और ये सारी चीजों का. ठीक है.
A new way to build machine learning models with an easy-to-use app. You know, machine learning is such a transformative tool.
Okay, so you guys do not have to understand what is lobe, okay? या ये प्लेटफॉर्म क्या है. आपने सिर्फ ये देखना है कि वो एक मॉडल कैसे ट्रेन और लर्न कैसे करता है.
It's redefining how we build software, and even allowing us to do things with technology that just a few years ago we didn't think were possible. The problem is, machine learning is complicated, and that means right now it's only being used by a small group of experts. But we think machine learning should be a tool that can be used by anyone, and that's why we created Lobe. Lobe is an easy-to-use app that has everything you need to bring your machine learning ideas to life. It doesn't require any experience to get started. You can train on your own computer for free, and ship your model on any platform you'd like. In the next few minutes, we'll use Lobe to train a custom machine learning model that can automatically detect when you take a sip of water. And we'll integrate this model into a health app that can remind us if we forget to drink enough water throughout the day. Okay, let's get started. So this is Lobe. Let's go up here and call this project Drink Tracker. Now, the really cool thing about machine learning is that it learns from examples. So all we need to do to get started is show Lobe some images of us drinking water, and it will start to train us a custom machine learning model. So let's go up here and import some images. If you already have images on your computer, you can import and label them right inside Lobe. But since we don't have any yet, let's use our webcam. All right, here I am. Now we'll take some pictures of us drinking for our model to learn. To do that, I'll go down here and label this drinking, and take a few pictures. To collect pictures more quickly, we can press and hold on the shutter button to take a burst of images. Let's do that. And since I don't only drink out of this hand, I'll take pictures drinking out of my other hand as well for our model to learn that too. Okay, nice. The exact number of images you'll need will vary based on the complexity of your project, but it's always important to add a variety of images that include things like different poses, backgrounds, or lighting conditions. Really anything your model might see when being used in your app. All right, now that we've shown Lobe what it looks like when we're drinking, we'll also want to show Lobe what it looks like when we're not drinking. So let's go down here and label this not drinking. And take pictures in front of our computer. I could get closer, maybe look around. Maybe I'm thinking. Really anything we would do in front of our computer. All right, that should be enough. Here we can view and browse all of the images we just took. And over here on the side, you can see our labels and how many images we have per label. You can also click on a label to see just those images. And if you want to make any changes, you can always click on a label to edit it, or delete an image you don't want. But this is looking pretty good. Okay, so now that we've finished collecting and labeling images, the next step is to train our model. And one great thing about Lobe is training happens automatically in the background, without any setup or configuration. And that means training just finished. Let's click on Train and see how our model is doing. Here we can see the results of our trained model and the predictions it's made for all of our images. Up here with green labels are the images our model is predicting correctly. And down here with red labels are the images our model is predicting incorrectly. This can really help us discover our model's strengths and weaknesses and find areas to improve it. Like for these images, this is interesting. It looks like our model thinks I'm drinking whenever it sees my hand, even if there's not a cup. That might be because my hand is holding the cup in all the images where I'm drinking. It's important to keep in mind that machine learning may not always learn in the way you'd expect. Here it may have learned to focus more on my hand instead of the cup. We'll see if we can fix that in a moment, but overall it's predicting most of our images right. So why don't we click on play and try it out. Here we can use our webcam to see live predictions from the model we just created. Down here in the corner is the prediction, and it looks like it's correctly predicting that we're not drinking water. Now let's try it out and see if it can detect when we take a sip of water. Okay, it correctly predicted that we're drinking there. Let me try my other hand as well. All right, looks like it could see that we're drinking there too. Next, let's try something out that confused our model, like when I put my hand to my face. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's still confused here and thinks when it sees my hand I'm drinking. Now, one of my favorite things about Lobe is we can give our model feedback about the predictions it's making using these buttons over here in this corner and instantly improve it. So I can put my hand back up and find when it's making a mistake. I could then click this red button to tell Lobe that this is an incorrect prediction. Lobe will take that image along with the correct label and immediately retrain us a new model in the background. Okay, let's see if it's improved. I can bring my hand back up, and it's no longer thinking I'm drinking. Awesome. Next, let's try something else that might confuse our model. Like, what if I bring my cup up? Okay. It might be that our model trained to find the cup well, but not actually detect when I'm really taking a drink of water. Let's see if we can improve that as well. I can go over here and tell Lobe that this is incorrect and I'm not drinking. I can try it over here with my other hand. And how about if I hold my cup in the front? Okay, perfect. Say that this is not drinking. It's important for our drink tracking app to make sure the model only detects when we're actually taking a drink of water, not just holding the cup up. We'll let this finish up. All right, let's try it out again. I can bring my cup back up and see that it doesn't think I'm drinking anymore. Let me try with my other hand and take another sip. Okay, great, got that right. Let me see if we can see over here as well. All right, our model's working much better now. This is pretty incredible. I mean, in just a few minutes, we were able to collect and label images, train a custom machine learning model, try it out, and improve it, all inside Lobe. Now, this is just the start, and as we look to improve our model more, we'll want to continually add more examples to show it more things like different people, or a variety of cups, or more backgrounds. But for this first version of our model, this should work great for me on my desk. So why don't we export it and integrate it into our health app? All right, so let's go up here and export. Lobe allows you to export to a variety of formats and ship your model on any platform you'd like. Because we're building a cross-platform app, let's use TensorFlow. And we'll just save this to our desktop. Lobe additionally gives you the option to optimize your model before exporting. This will train your model longer if Lobe can find improvements to make it run even better in your app. So let's optimize and export our model. Okay, so once the model finishes exporting, you can easily add it to any app you're building. I've already coded our health app and integrated the model we just trained into it. So let's go try it out. We can go ahead and close Lobe and open up our drink tracking app up here. I built this app to run in the background and use our model to continually track when I drink water throughout the day. Up here on top, you can see how much water I've had so far. And down here is a nice little chart that shows how much water I've had at different hours. Now, what I really like about this app is if you forget to drink water for a period of time, it'll give you a gentle reminder. Like that. Why don't we take a sip and try it out? Okay, nice. You can even take a sip for longer. Okay, this is working great. This app will help me drink more water and develop healthier habits. We could even think about expanding this app to do more, like detect when I'm drinking soda or eating too much junk food. It's amazing to think how easy it was to add this kind of intelligence to our app. And this is just one example of the kind of things you can do with Lobe. You can start training your machine learning model today. Just download the app at lobe.ai. It's free to use and available for both Mac and PC. We can't wait to see all the amazing things people come up with as machine learning is made easy enough for anyone to use.
Okay, guys. So, mera maqsad, my objective was from this video, showing you this video, was that आप लोग ये चीज अंडरस्टैंड कर लो कि एक मशीन लर्निंग का जो मॉडल होता है वो वर्क कैसे कर रहा होता है. So for example, so from the start, he created a model to predict whether he is drinking or not drinking. Okay, and then that model was giving him bad results. ठीक है, कुछ सही रिजल्ट्स दे रहा था, कुछ गलत दे रहा था इन स्टार्ट. ऐसा क्यों था? बिकॉज मॉडल ने जो स्टार्ट में उसने उसको डेटा दिया था, मॉडल को जो इमेजेस दी थी, जो डेटा था वो फॉर्म ऑफ इमेजेस था. उस डेटा सेट के अंदर क्लियरली उसने ये चीज मेंशन नहीं की थी कि एक ड्रिंकिंग और नॉट ड्रिंकिंग में डिफरेंस क्या था. ठीक है. सो जब आपका जो मैं कह रहा था कि ईडीए के अंदर वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर डेटा सेट वेल. ठीक है. वो चीज ज्यादा इम्पेक्ट कर रही होती है. तो अगर मेरा डेटा मेरे पास ज्यादा होता और मैंने अच्छी तरह प्रिपेयर किया होता जिसमें क्लियरली ये चीज मेंशन होती, जो कि उसने बाद में किया इम्प्रूव, कि उसने ऐसी इमेजेस दी हैं जहाँ पे उसको लगा कि शायद वो गिलास मेरे हाथ को समझ रहा है कि मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ, या गिलास को लग रहा है कि मैं पानी पी रहा हूँ. रादर कि वो ये चीज लर्न करे कि जब गिलास, हाथ और होंठ, मतलब पूरा जब चीजें तीनों कनेक्टेड होंगी, ओनली देन वो प्रेडिक्ट करेगा कि ये ड्रिंकिंग है, अदर देन दैट इज नॉट ड्रिंकिंग. ठीक है. सो एवरीथिंग डिपेंड्स अपॉन डेटा. डेटा अगर सही है देन मॉडल वो पैटर्न्स लर्न कर लेता है. ठीक है, कि आपके ये एक्सप्लेनेटरी वेरिएबल्स होंगे तो रिस्पॉन्स वेरिएबल क्या होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैच है, दुबई में है, पाकिस्तान पहले बैटिंग कर रहा है, पाकिस्तान की पॉपुलैरिटी है, फॉर्म में है, उसके बाद ड्यू है, सीमर्स को ज्यादा फायदा हो सकता है. ये सारे एक्सप्लेनेटरी कॉलम्स है ना. ठीक है. सिमिलरली 2020 है या वनडे मैच है. ठीक है. ये सारे फीचर्स मिल के आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं कि पाकिस्तान जीतेगा या पाकिस्तान हारेगा. तो एक्सप्लेनेटरी वेरिएबल्स का जो पैटर्न है कि एक फ्रॉड के एक्सप्लेनेटरी वेरिएबल्स किस तरह दिखते हैं और एक नॉट फ्रॉड के वो सारी वैल्यूज किस तरह की होती हैं. ठीक है. किस सिनेरियो में पाकिस्तान जीतता है, किस सिनेरियो में इंडिया जीतता है, कि क्या क्या चीजें हों तो एक ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड होती है, क्या क्या चीजें हों तो एक ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड नहीं होती. अगर तो आपने अपने डेटा सेट के अंदर ये सारी चीजें वन बाय वन एक एक कॉलम के अंदर मेंशन की हुई हैं तो आपका रिजल्ट्स बहुत एक्यूरेट आने वाले हैं. ठीक है. क्योंकि मॉडल ने तो उसी पैटर्न में से लर्न करना है जो उसको आप दोगे डेटा सेट. अगर डेटा के अंदर आपने 4 कॉलम दिए हुए हैं, जी पाकिस्तान पहली बैटिंग करेगा और रात के टाइम मैच है, दुबई में मैच है, अब इन 3-4 फीचर्स के ऊपर तो जो वो प्रेडिक्शन दे तो देगा, मॉडल प्रेडिक्शन दे देगा, लेकिन वो प्रेडिक्शन उतनी एक्यूरेट नहीं होंगी, गलत रिजल्ट्स आएंगे. टू मेक इट मोर एक्यूरेट आपने एक्चुअली में जो जो चीजें डिपेंडेंट होती हैं एक मैच जीतने या हारने पे, वो सारी फीचर्स ऐड करने हैं आपने. अब वो फीचर्स कहाँ से आते हैं, कौन कौन सा डेटा चाहिए होगा, क्या क्या चाहिए होगा, किस फॉर्म में चाहिए होगा, ये सारा काम जो मैंने आपको बताया था कि आपने स्टार्ट के अंदर क्वेश्चन के टाइम यू हैव टू एस्टैब्लिश दिस, कि आपको क्या क्या रिक्वायर्ड होगा, कहाँ कहाँ से आएगा, क्या क्या होगा. फिर ईडीए किया, ईडीए में पता चला नहीं चीजें कम हैं, पूरी चीजें नहीं हैं, और चीजें चाहिए तो आप दोबारा और चीजें में इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो. ठीक है. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस कंबाइंड आपका ईडी अच्छा होगा तो मॉडलिंग रिजल्ट्स अच्छे आएंगे. देन मॉडलिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट एज वेल, बट मॉडलिंग इज समथिंग जो के जो हो जाती है. ठीक है. उसमें मसला नहीं आता. मतलब इट इज डूएबल, हो जाता है। मसला क्या आता है? मसला होता है ईडी अच्छा नहीं हुआ, रिजल्ट्स अच्छे नहीं आ रहे। अच्छा रिजल्ट्स अच्छे नहीं आ रहे, अच्छा रिजल्ट्स अच्छे आ भी जाए तो उसके बाद फिर अच्छी तरह प्रेजेंट नहीं हो रहे, वैल्यू नहीं ऐड हो रही, ठीक है। तो ऑल ऑफ दिस थिंग्स कंबाइंड आपका चाहिए। सो चैलेंज योर इमेजिनेशन। अब आपने एक चीज देखी है कि मशीन लर्निंग का मॉडल कैसे काम कर रहा होता है। सिमिलरली अब आप उसको फिट इन किस किस प्रॉब्लम में कर सकते हो। सिर्फ एक ड्रिंकिंग ऐप उसने बनाई कि एक मॉडल बनाया जो विच sort of checks whether you are drinking or not drinking. This is one thing. This is machine learning prediction end. Khatam. Prediction आ गई. Now what you have to do with that prediction, this is important. उसने utilize कैसे किया उन predictions को? He came up with an idea of an health app. उस prediction को उसने use किया उस health app के अंदर, ठीक है। और उस हेल्थ ऐप का मकसद क्या था कि टू आइडेंटिफाई या टू गिव यू रिमाइंडर्स व्हेन टू ड्रिंक वाटर और व्हेन टू नॉट, ठीक है। अब द प्रॉब्लम वाज नॉट मशीन लर्निंग प्रॉब्लम, प्रॉब्लम वाज जो स्टार्ट एक ऐप है, उस ऐप का मकसद मशीन लर्निंग नहीं था, उस ऐप का मकसद था रिकमेंडेशंस देना आपको, ठीक है। बट दैट रिकमेंडेशंस वर बैक्ड बाय योर मशीन लर्निंग टेक्निक, ठीक है। सो आप उन जो मैं बात कर रहा था कि बिजनेस वैल्यू वाली, मैं अगर टेलीनॉर वालों के लिए एक मॉडल बना के देता हूँ विच कैन प्रिडिक्ट कि कौन सा बंदा उनको अगले 30 दिनों में छोड़ के चला जाएगा, मतलब अपना टेलीनॉर से की सिम यूज करना बंद कर देगा, आई कैन प्रिडिक्ट इट, ठीक है। एंड आई हैव डन दिस। लेकिन बिजनेस को क्या फायदा है इससे? दैट being a data scientist, that is also my responsibility to give an idea to the business that using my predictions, how can you use my predictions, okay? How can my predictions can add value to business and save you some extra cash or earn you some extra dollars? That being a data scientist, that is my part, okay? So predictions लेके आ जाना, मॉडल बना लेना, not enough, not a good one. Good one तब होगा जब वो value add करेगा, okay? So you have to be imaginative, uh, being a data scientist, being you have to be imaginative of how to use that predictions to get value out of it, ठीक है। नाउ हम लोग अपने लास्ट टॉपिक की तरफ आते हैं। अच्छा सो अब एक बहुत ये जो टॉपिक है दिस इज वेरी पॉपुलर, काफी लोगों को इस माइंड में क्वेश्चन होगा कि जी व्हाट इज एआई, व्हाट इज डीएस, व्हाट इज एमएल, व्हाट इज डीप लर्निंग और सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स, रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग, ये सारी चीजें इंटरकनेक्टेड कैसे हैं, ओके। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स टॉक अबाउट एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, ठीक है। artificial intelligence, what does it mean? It means that you are, अगर मैं सिर्फ लफ्जी मतलब पे जाऊं, it means that you are inducing intelligence into something artificially, ठीक है। या फिर you are making a machine intelligence artificially, okay? artificial intelligence। अब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस किसी भी तरह कर सकते हो आप। अब वो करोगे कैसे? आपने किसी भी मशीन को, हमने यही किया ना, एक एक सिंपल रॉ मशीन है, क्या कहते हो आप, डल मशीन है which doesn't know what is fraud and not fraud. You want to make it intelligent so that he can distinguish between a fraud and not fraud. How will you do that? You will do that by using machine learning models, yes, by using deep learning models, yes. But how will you use that models to solve this problem? That comes under data science, because data science has a life cycle. Data science is about solving that problem using AI, ठीक है। डेटा साइंस एक अपर अम्ब्रेला है जिसके अंदर आपका एआई भी आता है, आपकी मशीन लर्निंग आती है, आपके डीप लर्निंग आता है, आपका ईडीए आता है, आपका मैथ स्टैट्स आता है, आपकी विजुअलाइजेशन आती है, पूरा फ्लो है। from problem to the storytelling. Okay, so data science involves AI, या फिर आप कह सकते हो कि to for AI to work you need a data science. ठीक है, अब फिर डेटा साइंस के अंदर यू नीड व्हाट, यू नीड एल्गोरिथम्स. वो एल्गोरिथम्स कौन कौन से होंगे? आइदर यू आर यूजिंग क्लासिकल मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम्स, जो कि कौन कौन से आपके पास, मतलब जो हम लोग अपने कोर्स के अंदर पढ़ेंगे. क्लासिकल मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम मींस आपके जितने भी डिसीजन ट्रीज हैं, रैंडम फॉरेस्ट हैं, रिग्रेशन के हैं, सारी चीजें. ठीक है, आप डिटेल आप लोग पढ़ लोगे. अच्छा, या फिर आप उस डेटा साइंस की प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करते हो विद डीप लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम. डीप लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम्स क्या होते हैं? मशीन लर्निंग तो हो गए, क्लासिकल मशीन लर्निंग. डीप लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम्स के अंदर नॉर्मली हम लोग न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स की बात करते हैं. ठीक है, न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स या आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स या ANN एंड न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स बेसिकली डीप लर्निंग के अंदर क्यों आते हैं? बिकॉज न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स हैज अ डीप कनेक्टेड नेटवर्क. ठीक है, एक सिंगल न्यूरल नेटवर्क अकेला इज नॉट पावरफुल इनफ फॉर अ चैटबॉट या चैट जीपीटी लाइक चैटबॉट या गूगल बार्ट, या फिर आप एक ऑब्जेक्ट क्लासिफिकेशन का मॉडल बनाते हो कि आप कैमरे के अंदर या आप कोई भी इमेज लो और वो इमेज आपको बता दे कि इसमें गाड़ियां कितनी हैं, ट्रक कितने हैं, बाइक कितनी है, साइकिल कितनी है, डॉग्स कितनी है, कैट कितनी है. अगर आप ये काम कराना चाहते हो तो उसके लिए यू नीड अ डीप लर्निंग नेटवर्क. ठीक है, मतलब जिसके अंदर मल्टीपल न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स होंगे. पहला न्यूरल नेटवर्क का काम कुछ और होगा, दूसरे का कुछ और होगा, तीसरे का कुछ और होगा, चौथे का कुछ और होगा. ठीक है, सो प्रोबेबली यू वुड नीड 50 न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स. सो have when you build a deep network of different neural networks, it comes under deep learning. ठीक है, तो उसके अंदर नॉर्मली रेफर्ड न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स आर रेफर्ड या कम्स अंडर डीप लर्निंग. आपके जो, क्योंकि वो एक पूरा एक स्ट्रक्चर, एक लेयर होता है, एक आर्किटेक्चर होता है उस पूरे उसका. अगर आप स्टैंड अलोन्स की बात करो तो मशीन लर्निंग के अंदर आपके पास बहुत से एल्गोरिदम्स आते हैं जो स्टैंड अलोन काम कर रहे होते हैं. ठीक है, अकेले उनका भी आर्किटेक्चर तो होता है कुछ जिसके ऊपर वो वर्किंग चल रही होती है, बट दे आर नॉट वेरी डीप. ओके, सो दैट कम्स अंडर मशीन लर्निंग. अच्छा, ये चीज यहाँ तक क्लियर होगी. डेटा साइंस इज अ फ्लो, इज अ लाइफ साइकिल, इज अ प्रोसेस. ओके, AI इज अ मेथड में उसके अंदर एल्गोरिदम्स होते हैं फिर. ठीक है, अच्छा, ये तो चीज थी टेक्निकल बात. अब जो जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है ना, जो यूज केस के लिहाज से, मैं वो आपको बता देता हूँ. सो व्हेन वी से वी नीड, whenever we hear AI, तो आपके माइंड में क्या आता है? कंप्यूटर विजन, न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स, चैटबॉट्स, ऑब्जेक्ट क्लासिफिकेशन, डॉग कैट प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, तो बड़ी बड़ी बातें आपके जहन में आती है व्हेनेवर यू टॉक अबाउट AI. और व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट डेटा साइंस, सो आपके माइंड में क्या आता है? रोज एंड कॉलम, स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा, प्रेडिक्टिंग फ्रॉड, प्रेडिक्टिंग कैंसर पेशेंट, प्रेडिक्टिंग दिस, प्रेडिक्टिंग दैट, मार्केट सेगमेंटेशन, ये सारी चीजें. व्हाई इज दैट? बिकॉज जब अब अगर मैं यूज केसेस की बात करूं, let's talk about Telenor, let's talk about banking sector, let's talk about FMCGs, let's talk about other big corporate firms. They all have structured data stored, or they're getting structured data. Maybe they have in unstructured data too, but that can also be. But उनकी जो main backbone है वो structured data है, transactional data है. ठीक है, now they apply science on that data using machine learning algorithms, using math, stats, visualization, wrangling, and all that to get results in the form of predictions, and then formulate that predictions to get the value. ठीक है, ये हो गया एक कॉर्पोरेट स्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं. नाउ यू कम टू प्रोडक्ट साइड. जब आप प्रोडक्ट साइड में आते हो, लेट्स से ये एक ऐप बनाई है, अभी जो हमने लोब की एग्जांपल ली, इमेज उसने डिटेक्ट की कंप्यूटर विजन के थ्रू, इमेज के ऊपर उसने प्रिडिक्ट किया नॉट ड्रिंकिंग ड्रिंकिंग, उसके ऊपर उसने एक ऐप बनाई, उस ऐप को उसने मार्केट किया. AI solution. That is a AI based solution which he's selling. Okay, so when you talk about products, AI based products, तो normally AI based products जो होते हैं वो आपको corporates के नजर नहीं आएंगे. कॉर्पोरेट्स के जो प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं एआई बेस्ड वो इन हाउस होते हैं, मशीन लर्निंग डेटा साइंस बेस्ड. ठीक है, जो मार्केटिंग डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर यूज हो रहे होते हैं, उनके ऊपर कैंपेन्स बनती हैं, ये सारी चीजें हो रही होती हैं. जो अब एआई का नाम सुनते हो तो एआई के नाम में वही आता है जी, कैट डॉग प्रॉब्लम, ऑब्जेक्ट क्लासिफिकेशन, एक कैमरा लगा हुआ है, फेशियल रिकग्निशन, मैं कमरे के अंदर एंटर हूँ, मेरी अटेंडेंस लग जाए खुद ही से, व्हाटसोएवर ऑल ऑफ दीज. ठीक है, सो वो हम सब एआई क्योंकि एक बजवर्ड बन चुका हुआ है कि आपने, अच्छा एआई एक बड़ी टर्म है नो डाउट, एआई एज अ मैथ एज अ मेथड जो जिसके थ्रू आप मशीन को इंटेलिजेंट बना रहे हो ना, दैट्स ऑल. या बट हाउ विल यू डू दैट? You will do that by following a data science flow, data science life cycle, data science approach, in which you will collect data, you will prepare data, you will model that data using AI algorithms. And then AI के अंदर, how you do AI? You use by either by machine learning algorithms or by deep learning algorithm or by RL. RL means reinforcement learning, जो कि एक next step आ जाता है, machine learning, deep learning and then the reinforcement learning. ये जो self driving cars हैं, we have self driving cars which are built on reinforcement learning algorithms, जो अपने आप को अपनी trainings खुद से timely अपने आप को री-एवेलुएट एंड रीट्रेन करते रहते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग. और रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग खैर एक एडवांस टॉपिक है. सो बेसिक एमएल मशीन लर्निंग, देन डीप लर्निंग एंड देन रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग, एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज लर्निंग्स कम्स अंडर एआई. आप इन लर्निंग्स के थ्रू क्या करते हो? you artificially induce intelligent into a machine. Okay, and how you do that, or how to get value out of this AI? Yeah, how to get value out of this artificially induced intelligence? By using data science. Okay, I hope मैंने इसको summarize अच्छे से कर दिया है, and there are no confusions left still. अगर हैं तो obviously, but 80% 70% I think चीजें अब clear होंगी. नॉर्मली जनरल स्लैंग लैंग्वेज में मैं बात कर दूं तो एआई इंजीनियर या एआई पे, एआई के मतलब ये होता है कि जी कोई ऐप बनानी है जिसके अंदर कोई एआई सॉल्यूशन है, ये इस तरह की चीजें होगी. व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट डेटा साइंस, डेटा साइंटिस्ट, दैट मींस यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन द स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा फॉर द मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इट, और आपने एक बिजनेस को सॉल्यूशन देना है. ठीक है, प्रोडक्ट बेस्ड काम नहीं करना, सॉल्यूशन उस पर काम करना है. यहाँ तक क्लियर? I have left with just one मिनट, तो उसके अंदर मैं क्विकली आपको बता देता हूँ. भी हमारा जो कोर्स का स्ट्रक्चर है, हमारा कोर्स का स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा है दैट वी विल यूज पाइथन as basic language, as our medium, in which we will create models, in which we will create data wrangling, in which we will perform visualization and EDA और सारा काम. Why Python? Because from in the previous years, we Python has become more and more popular. पॉपुलैरिटी गेज कैसे की गई हुई है? अगेन यहाँ पे स्टैक ओवरफ्लो एक ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म है जिसके ऊपर, सो द क्वेश्चन, नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कमिंग इन से पॉपुलैरिटी डिसाइड की जा रही है यहाँ पे. तो जो 2019 2018 एंड ऑनवर्ड जो है वो पाइथन जो है वो मोस्ट पॉपुलर निकल के सामने आई है, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली जो चीज़ ज़्यादा यूज हो रही होती है उसी के ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस मार्केट में आते हैं. देन एक तो ये पॉपुलर बहुत है, सो पॉपुलर होने का फायदा क्या होता है? यू गेट सपोर्ट फ्रॉम इट. मतलब आपको कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आएगी, यू गो एंड सर्च ऑनलाइन, आपको उसके रिसोर्स मिल जाएगा, उसको सोल्यूशन मिल जाएगा. सेकेंडली, इट इज़ वेरी वेरी इजी टू लर्न. So I have been teaching students from business background. मेरे पास एक डॉक्टर भी थे मेरे as a student. So from different backgrounds, people come in, and at the end of 2 months course, they are as much equipped with the skill of Python as a technical guy, because Python is so much easy to learn. ओके और हमारा पूरा जो कोर्स का स्ट्रक्चर है उसके अंदर हर चीज कोडिंग के अंदर हो रही है, तो आपका हैंड्स ऑन इतना ज्यादा हो जाता है दैट इट बिकम्स वेरी क्लियर एंड इजी to move या to proceed further with this. So similarly easy कैसे है, it follows a high level English like structure. So let's say you want to print. So print means, what is a print in English? You want to get an output, right? Yeah. So similarly, uh, if there's another language, C++, it would include many languages, but in Python, it is done by a single line of code, which is again an English like structure. Okay. So this is this. Then we have our next batch. Our next batch is starting as from 23rd September. And if you are willing, uh, सो आप लोग वेबसाइट पे जाके इसको लिंक या फिर मैनेजमेंट से कनेक्ट करके वेबसाइट पे भी इसको रजिस्टर कर सकते हो. आई डोंट नो अबाउट दी पेमेंट प्लान एंड बाकी सब चीज़ें, बट देयर आर installment plans available. Dice gives jobs placement guarantee because अच्छा हाँ, हम लोग job placement guarantee ऐसे देते हैं that we at the end of the course we will have an exam and top performers uh, कि जो हम CVs collect कर लेते हैं and then different firms and companies contact Dice Analytics for resources. So Dice will give them the CVs of their top performers, and this is a routine which Dice usually follow. Okay, so this is a hybrid training. You can come on site, you can join online, whatever is best for you. I would recommend you all to come and join me uh, on premises so that हमारी जो collaboration है या connection that is more bonded, but obviously you can join online as well. Acha, and it will be a Saturday only course. Okay, so we will have class every Saturday for 2 months. uh, it will only be on Saturday. Timings will be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we will have an 8 hour long session. Why it is a long session? Because we we have topics which are long enough. So अगर मैं कहूँ कि जी हम 8 घंटे की बजाय 4 4 घंटे के कर लेंगे, तो उसमें होता ही है कि टॉपिक थोड़े बड़े हैं, सो पीपल लूज फोकस जब वो एक दिन छोड़ के एक दिन गैप के बाद आते हो या फिर एक हफ्ते का गैप आ जाता है, तो होता क्या है कि जो पिछले हफ्ते की चीजें हैं वो गायब हो चुकी भी होती हैं. सो वी हैव 8 hour लॉन्ग सेशन. उसमें वी विल हैव ऑब्वियसली वी विल नॉट we will have breaks in between that, और एक connected focused उसके अंदर हम पूरे का पूरा टॉपिक जो आएंगे या मल्टीपल टॉपिक्स कवर कर रहे होंगे. So this we will Python Anaconda यूज कर रहे होंगे, Jupyter notebooks पे काम करेंगे. Then again there are some libraries, NumPy, pandas whatsoever, वो हम सारे पढ़ेंगे. Our team includes me as a trainer. Then we have Ahmed Raza Khan. He is he will be in a supporting trainer role. Then we will have Zan Rafiq. He will be our TA, जो trainer assistant है. So Zan as a TA, trainer assistant, Ahmed Raza Khan, supporting trainer, and me being the lead trainer. Okay. And course details क्या होंगी? Our online course outline is available here. This so basically a website पे भी check कर सकते हो, link होगा Dice की analytics की website पे. Our course is structured in a way that we have 2 assignments and two quizzes. So in this 2 months session, we will have 2 assignments, 2 quizzes, 3 projects. Okay, so you will be working on 3 different projects around different techniques. So one for prediction, one for segmentation, one for association rule mining, one for regression. Okay, so multiple. So we will have 3 projects. Then we will have presentation at the end of the course, and obviously we will have final exam, and you will get a certificate if you have submitted assignments, all the quizzes, all projects, presentation, and you passed your final exam by 60% or 70, I don't know. uh, it varies, but we will, once you're there, I'll communicate that as well. But so ये सब चीजें होंगी, so only then Dice will guarantee you the job placement, and Dice will roll out the certificates as well.